Who's ready for race day? Suit up for the starting line as we hit the gas on day 3 of the Fixed Ops Roundtable Fastlane event. Keep your eye on the finish line, because turning the corner is your host, Katrina Ness.
Racers, are you ready? I'm Katrina Ness from Northwood University, here to welcome you to our third lap of the Fixed Ops Roundtable Fastlane event. Team up to race towards success with our expert speakers and panelists as they go for the gold. When you see the green light, hit the gas. We're off to the races in 3, 2, 1, go! You don't need Hot Wheels to join this raceway. Shift gears to use the chat feature on the right side of your screen. Just be sure to select everyone and not just hosts and panelists.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. What an exciting time to be in our industry. Steve Madincea is with us, along with Dr. Matt Bennett at Northwood University. And I thought it appropriate to invite these gentlemen on and hear a little bit about what they've been hard at work on. Northwood University has launched a motorsports management program. Steve and Matt, welcome, and welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Our pleasure.
Thanks, Ted. Great to see you again, and looking forward to talking about this and all the exciting things we're working on here at America's Automotive University.
And you've certainly got the expert involved early. Steve, you've got a rich history in this type of thing. Welcome to the roundtable. And Steve, if you don't mind, I know you're a Northwood alum, but give us a little bit of your background and how we got here.
Oh, wow. Thanks very much, Ted. Great to be here. You know, post my graduation from Northwood, I was very fortunate to get aligned with Ford Motor Company as they got back into motorsports across America, NASCAR, Trans Am racing, drag racing, everything. And it was just kind of like my master's degree in motorsport. And during that period, they wanted to get a bit more serious about their Formula One program. They had a program with the Benetton family, of the Benetton clothing family, Benetton Ford team. And they wanted me to basically go in and handle all the commercial activities globally. So they got a line messaging with Ford Japan, Ford Australia, Ford Brazil, Ford Mexico. And as a young guy in my early 20s, I thought, what a great opportunity. Why not? Let's go for this. It might last 30 years, might last 3 years. The assignment was originally for 3, but I've been here for 30. So quite an enjoying time to be in motorsport all around the world, that's for sure.
And Matt, congratulations on putting this together. Tell us a little bit about the initiative, Matt, and some background on it.
Yeah, no, I mean, credit is given where credit is due. I mean, it's the brainchild, I think, certainly of Steve and our president, Dr. Kent McDonald. I think it started maybe perhaps on the back of a napkin, Steve, but really transformed with Steve's real pipeline of hearing the what's what and who's who and what needs are within the industry, whether that's F1, Indy, NASCAR. He certainly has built a great rapport of relationships. And as they developed kind of the framework, I was brought in. As you know, a year ago, we launched our Center for Automotive and Mobility Studies. And so we really try to get legs with this. So Steve, myself, Dr. Dave Oventhal, who I know you're aware of, Ted, is our professor of automotive strategy as provided by Subaru of New England, really worked on a survey instrument first to see what the needs were. So given Steve's unbelievable network and relationships, we were able to deploy that to literally the who's who. I won't say who because I may forget somebody, but we had some of the top race teams all over the world provide us with insights. And it really kind of proved Steve and Dr. McDonald and our hypothesis right. There's a need and there's a gap. And who better to serve that gap for talent in the motorsports arena, which is a multi-billion-dollar industry, than America's Automotive University? And so we had the chassis, no pun intended, but a little bit. We had the chassis with programming, but we really needed Steve's insights and expertise as a subject matter expert and his relationships to get insights from the teams in terms of what skills were needed. And through the course of the past year, we really finalized a program that met the needs, that not only gave them the classroom learning, but moreover, and I believe the key differentiation of Northwood and this program, the experiential learning, where students can go from the classroom to the track and to the events all over the world and get hands-on learning opportunities that make them that much more valuable to these teams and this industry as a whole. And that might not only be the teams, but as Steve can probably elaborate more, it's an ecosystem of opportunities. So that's where we sit as we're looking to launch the first program class intake in 26. But we have started workshops for students all over the country as we speak now. So, Steve, we want to give a little more insight on the nuts and bolts. I think that kind of gives a good layout of where we are.
Yeah, I think that is a great background. And essentially, we looked at this multi-billion-dollar industry, recognized that it was having substantial growth pattern. Dr. McDonald kept feeding me data that was being sent to him, probably from Matt and others, saying, "Look at the NASCAR television figures; they're smashing it. Look what IndyCar is doing now with Fox and moving into Arlington with the Cowboys and stuff. They're smashing it. And look at F1 in America; it just kept going from strength to strength, and will continue to go from strength to strength based upon the leadership team they have in place there." So you add all these up, it's not a far step away from the center from CAMS, right? And so Matt and I started talking with Dr. McDonald, and it was percolating a bit. Other board, I was fortunate to be on the Northwood Board of Trustees. Other trustee members were very interested in it, talking to me about it during breaks and board action stuff. And then I got lucky. Sometimes you get lucky, right? Dr. McDonald, during the off season, was doing one of his international trips. He had about a half a day that he said, "I'll give you a half a day, do whatever you need to do with me." And I brought him down to the Goodwood Festival of Speed, which of course is the mecca for automotive enthusiasts and motoring enthusiasts. And I said, let's go around and talk to people. And probably the most interesting thing is that there were about a half dozen Northwood graduates in prominent positions at these automotive companies in situ there. And we just had good discussions. And they're like, yes, we've got great team members, but we need to grow. We need to do this. They need to know more about data analytics. They need to know more about this. And some of that's existing Northwood courses, right? So we're very happy with that. We know we could do that, but we knew we had to have a little specialism, to teach them a little couple of things specific about the industry, about the sector. Matt mentioned the survey that we did with everybody from the FIA and all the sanctioning bodies to the teams and events. And that feedback was rich, quite frankly. It was second to none. And that's really where we're taking that information to move forward with, so that any students that join the Northwood Motorsport Management course, they will be graduated and highly, highly valued.
Matt, motorsports attracts some big companies with some big brands and big names. Is that part of the overall strategy? Will that be incorporated here as we watch you roll this out, which this sounds extremely exciting.
I think the pace will be fast. I think, as our president says in many occasions, we're at a pace now where it's all gas and no brakes. And once again, I think the reality is that's about building the relationships and the ecosystem, which is very rich, as you know, in Northwood University's history in the automotive and mobility sector as a whole. So it's not a far cry, as Steve alluded to earlier, from even what we're doing in your areas, Ted, with fixed and variable and the dealership networks. I just had a call last week with a very prominent dealer group, and they are all F1 junkies, and they go to races all over the world. So it's really building the ecosystem with a group of like-minded individuals, men, women from the United States all the way across the globe, who have that motor oil, as you've heard me say many times, running through their veins. And candidly, no one else is doing this. And that provides a very differentiating niche for us that we're going to continue to embrace and really drive all the way through the checkered flag. I think the reality is making sure that the exposure's there, the opportunities are there, because we know it's not only very popular, to Steve's point, in growth in the United States, but it's been excessively popular abroad. I mean, Steve's on this call from the UK right now, and it's a religion. And I don't think that's an outlandish claim, but across the globe. So it also impacts Northwood University's global footprint and ties within automotive as a whole. So we're really excited about where this is going. We've got a handful of months here for our inaugural cohort, which we're anticipating in the fall. And I think the reality is not only working with these brands and these teams, and I won't name any because I don't want to put spotlights on one versus the other, but it also extends into their sponsors, the marketing divisions, the programs, the logistics, the event coordinators. The dominoes keep going down and down and down the line. To Steve's point, in that multi-billion-dollar network, and I like to say we build the bandwagon big enough for everybody to jump on the Northwood wagon. And I think that's the reality of where we're at today, and really excited to provide a new program opportunity in this exciting industry.
Steve, I got to say that I don't think Matt and I are surprised when you mentioned the Northwood alumni who are literally all over the world and representing this industry, and the fact that there's so many involved, and I think that's gonna accelerate the fuel, okay, that you are putting to this program, Steve.
I think you're right, Ted. I think you're 100% correct. And that's been one of the wonderful things to find out, not by design, but by error, as we go through this, right? Where people can help us.
So Matt, where's the program at now? You've alluded to a couple things, things that are already in place, but also, a lot of people are making, and a lot of dealers and companies watching are making their plans now for 2026. We're looking ahead to the new year. What kind of things can we look forward to? I know down below we've got a scroll. We'll give the URL here during the course of our talk today. But what's in the works, and what can we expect from Northwood coming out here?
Yeah, we really went into this endeavor with a crawl, walk, run approach, and we're walking excessively briskly, I think would be the best phrase. Excessively briskly. So what we did with Steve, his contacts in industry, the feedback from the survey instrument that was global in nature, to be candid, I want to put a significant highlight on that, with literally the largest players in the industry. What we did is we built the curriculum, which will begin in the fall of 2026 as part of a bachelor's program at Northwood University for those degree seeking. We think there's a great need for the sons and daughters of the folks within this industry and beyond. But for initial run, we built workshops that our existing student body can participate in, so that the existing Northwood student body and prospective students all over the country and globe can participate in under Steve and Dr. Oventhal's leadership. We just held our first workshop a couple weeks ago. Was very successful. Steve, with his contacts, has set up a host of great guests that can give students an opportunity to see what life is like in certain sectors of the industry. So we really wanted to get them engaged while we're changing the tire on the race car while it's going around the track. So those workshops are in place. we're also actively recruiting amongst these teams, amongst these groups for the fall of 2026, and really excited about that. Also building in potential partnerships and sponsorships to help support these. We know this industry is no stranger to sponsorships across the board. And under Steve's leadership, those are big things that I know he is driving. And we're really excited to bring that to fruition. So it's a yes and. We're doing things now, building programming moving forward, but also getting ready for a cohort of students within the group who have an F1 or NASCAR or Indy bug that they want to scratch or itch to get them rolling in the fall of 2026.
Steve, this takes Northwood to a whole new realm, and it almost begs the question, why now? Why did we wait so long? Right? This seems like a no-brainer. This thing is going to definitely accelerate quickly.
Well, amazingly, Ted, there isn't anybody around the world from an education perspective that has an accredited program like Northwood's pulling together.
Sure, yeah.
And if you can imagine all the people through my career, you've always had people who say, "Hey, how'd you get into motorsport? How can I get into it?"
Right.
And
sure,
I'm not going to say mine was by mistake, but it wasn't necessarily by design, as young people would like now, right? I had to do more education on the job than I did, formal education in addition to what I was taught at Northwood. So I think the most interesting thing, what Dr. Bennett, Dr. Oventhal, and the other educators have pulled together is a format that, broadly speaking, this is not 100% precise, but will be 50% the prime Northwood education that automotive people love, need, and have helped them accelerate their careers and stuff. Broadly, 25% might be motorsport specific that our survey told us from those, people, all from race organizations, teams, events. They told us these are the skills we want people, employees, team members of the future to have, right? So we've really focused on that, and we're looking at those aspects. And then the real differentiator, I believe, are the experiences, the things that we're going to do with these students, where they will work at the biggest events around the world, where they will work with the top teams around the world. They'll get that firsthand experience. So by the time they graduate, their CV will be so compelling. I guarantee you, people will be fighting over them to come work for them, probably because they've experienced them a little bit. And that's our ambition, that's our goal, and that's what we're driving towards right now.
Matt, I want to come. This is really exciting.
Well, and it brings in all of the key ingredients to a successful and really positive recipe for success.
Yeah.
Right. As Steve mentioned, the grandiose experiences across the globe, but let's not forget Northwood also is home to the world's largest outdoor new car show, which in the past year or 2 years has expanded to have a significant motorsports footprint. In fact, one of our students actually races and had his own race car on campus. There's already plans in the works for 2026 to have a bigger footprint. So the point being is they can get experiential learning at home as they get started in programming and then expand within internships, right? During the year, throughout their summers, and then into bigger and more grand opportunities. To Steve's point, one of our grand visions, you can see my banner in the back, and also Steve mentioned getting them working at the Festival of Speed at Goodwood, and really where the mecca of F1 and racing comes together in the UK. So those are all some of our grand visions with Steve's relationships, but putting these students in front of others is key because we know they're going to be very well received, but making sure they have the practical experiences to make a difference in those organizations is vital.
So workshops now, this coming fall, okay, accredited learning rollout. I'm hearing about these experiences all around the world. The timing of this, Matt, I do smell that auto show involved somehow. Maybe even the CAM Summit involved with all this as well, and getting the word out. And Steve, I think the visuals are going to look really great of these Northwood students involved, as you mentioned, all over the world. Okay, with experiences that they can't really capture at any other institution, with the Northwood name as well. On top of that, icing on the cake.
Absolutely, without question, Ted. And you hit the nail on the head in the respect that if I can graduate from Northwood University and have this tremendous education in automotive, had these tremendous experiences working in the auto show, expanding maybe the motorsport area within the motor auto show. If I can then go to visit, let's just say I go to Indianapolis and I visit the race shops there. I go to Charlotte, North Carolina. I visit the race shops there. I interact with the team leaders on the commercial side. I understand what they're doing. I get an internship at some of these big events, whether they're in the United States or abroad. When I graduate, my CV, my resume will be so compelling. My experience will be so profound. I have to believe that my career is going to accelerate once I go from there.
All right. So today, here we are towards the end of the year. We're in the middle of the fourth quarter. What are we looking for now? How can our audience start to get involved? I'm sure we're going to have some hand raisers, people who want to get involved with the program on different levels, perhaps potential sponsors, people to support the program. Matt, do we want to encourage our audience to reach out to you and to Steve and to get more information to learn more?
Absolutely. If you're a junkie relevant to motorsports of any kind, you've got that need for speed, as we say, you're in good company because America's Automotive University is delivering the mail in this regard. You're going to be in an unmatched program, and no one else in the world is doing this. So you can see the web address scrolling at the bottom. There's request more information. There's materials. There's digital flyers that people can review, and really an opportunity for even industry representatives who have sons and daughters who may have an inclination for racing or may not want to be an engineer but love the sport. There are hundreds of other jobs and roles within the industry that they can learn. And Steve has a credit to that, relevant to marketing and communications, promotion, cybersecurity, finance, accounting. In fact, one of our alums who served on the board of trustees with Steve oversees the F1 in Miami, Chris Clements, and he's a Northwood grad. So there's opportunities abound based on this unique thing called that Northwood network that puts people in a great opportunity for success. So we're really excited about it.
That's strong. Steve, you went to Northwood Institute. I want to close with that real quick. You went back before it was called Northwood University. So, Steve, your roots with Northwood are very, very deep.
Very deep, and it's one reason I'm doing this is because Northwood lit my entrepreneurial flame. Right? They were the one that sent me on this trajectory. So this is my way to give back, to help any young person that's out there that ever thought, I'd like to be in motorsport. And it's not all glamorous, right? It's not all rock and roll and traveling the world and being great. It's hard work. It's hard work everywhere you go. We had a discussion with somebody very senior at the Indianapolis 500, and she said, look, I'll take some of your team on for work-related issues, but they better understand that they're going to work hard. And Matt gave an example of what they do around that auto show. And she said, that's perfect. That's the kind of student I need. Somebody that understands that they may not get a lot of sleep during the prime weekend, in that regard. And it comes full circle, right? You got to give back. You have to give back.
This is a great relationship. I can see that already. Steve, thank you. Dr. Matt Bennett, thank you as well. I want to wish both of you and your families and the Northwood family, and Steve, I know, although you're overseas today, happy Thanksgiving to everybody, okay, and all of you. And congratulations on this. This is fantastic news for our audience. The time to reach out is now. Start making your plans. Northwood University has a motorsports management program. The two gentlemen heading it up are here, along with Dr. Kent McDonald. And I see this going very, very far. So we have a QR code on the screen. You can scan that with your phones now and get more information that way and reach out to Steve and Matt. And gentlemen, on behalf of the Roundtable and the auto industry, thanks for all you do.
Our pleasure, Ted. Thank you.
Thank you, Ted. This is our gift. We want to wrap up and put under the tree for those race enthusiasts all over the world. So thanks for having us, and happy holidays to all those on and reviewing. And we look forward to working with you.
All right, everybody. Northwood University Motorsports Management here with us today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Go mad!
Go mad! Go mad!
Go mad!
98% of customer experience is how well or how poorly you communicate. Well, how come my software partners spend 98% of their development on workflows? What if they spent 100% of their time on workflows and we spent 100% of our time on communication? Then we'd be able to truly create transformative experiences for customers, and that's what True Video does.
Knock on the door of the Insurance Office of America with our next speaker, Paul Elliott.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. I'm Sarah Vantine here with Ted Ings. Today we have the Insurance Office of America IOA Dealer Practice Group panel. And Ted, we've got a lot of really interesting conversation to have today.
Sarah, our great friend Paul Elliott is with us. He's been involved in and around the Fixed Ops Roundtable now for some time. What a great honor to have him here. Paul, welcome to the Fix. I never thought I'd say it. Paul, welcome to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Well, Ted and Sarah, I'm super glad to be here. I have followed the Fixed Ops Roundtable for a number of years. You and your community have taught me so much, and I'm blessed to be a part of it, and I'm very glad to be here.
Well, Paul, to kick things off for our audience that may not be familiar, could you tell us a little bit more about Insurance Office of America and IOA Dealer Practice Group?
Well, Sarah, absolutely. Can't wait to tell you about the Insurance Office of America and what I commonly refer to as IOA Dealer Practice Group. And the reason I do that, Insurance Office of America, is a mouthful, okay? Let's just be honest. IOA obviously stands for Insurance Office of America, and we have a dealer practice group here. We've got a team of people who specialize in this space. We are heavily involved in the dealership community. You know, I would say to you and to the audience that we work with franchised dealerships. We work with independent dealerships, not only in the auto space, but also equipment dealers, equipment rental dealers, heavy truck dealers. So it's broader than just franchised auto and independent auto. And I just wanted to make sure people understand that, because sometimes you'll have a dealer who has an equipment dealership with maybe a heavy truck dealership. So, we have a broad variety of products. And so very blessed to be part of this team. We have 8 members currently. We're growing. We are in the process of a merger with Navicord up in Canada, who also has a dealer practice group. We're excited about that. And, our team probably has a little over 125 years experience. I come from the direct writer background. I got my start in this industry with Century out of Stevens Point, Wisconsin. My partner, Matt, and our dealer practice leader got his start with Century as well, and they trained us well. And we love this industry. We love the people we work with.
We had a chance to meet Matt on a panel a little while back. IOA is also involved in, has a lot of industries, okay, not just automotive and some of the ones that you mentioned. Tell us a little bit more about offices that you've got, where you're located, and if a dealer would work, let's say, for an example, with a local IOA representative.
Correct. So we operate across the country. We have a little over, I think, 70 offices now. Wow. You may have to fact check me on that. We're adding offices, pretty frequently these days. Just really a great culture. And to your point, Ted, if a dealer out there knows a local representative or has an office close to where they operate, there's a good chance we have an office close by. And if they would like to have a more local presence, that partner would access myself or Matt or another team member who has expertise in this industry, and we would partner on that account. And we call them partners because that's what we are. We work together to support each other. My good friend Tom Klein, his book Tuck the Octopus. I think it's chapter 27, but I think there's a saying of something like the biggest room is always the room for improvement. And we all try and partner with people who have an expertise, because we are never, there's always room for improvement. We're never the smartest person in the room. We want to make sure we work with, maybe it's our aviation practice. If a dealer has a plane, we've got a practice group to help with that. If I don't know, maybe you own maybe you have some real estate. You own a lot of real estate. Maybe we have a practice for real estate. So we very broad.
And Tom is a great resource for the industry. He keeps a lot of dealers out of trouble and aware of what to be aware of. Okay, so a great shout out to him, and understand how all that works. So important, Sarah.
It is, Ted and Paul. These pieces, dealerships, and our audience that is listening today. There's a lot of potential exposure, especially, in a very litigious society today. And there's a lot of different pieces that dealerships have to, stay mindful of and stay up to date about when it comes to different areas of exposure. So I'd love to get your perspective. What are some of the benefits of working with IOA Dealer Practice Group?
So I know everybody loves to talk insurance. I mean, that's just what really, to be fair, insurance is not a super fun topic for a dealer to have a conversation about. But at the end of the day, we're here to protect them. That's what we do. So first thing, we're here to protect them and help them keep their profits, help them keep their assets. We're here to help their employees, protect their employees. So from that standpoint, we offer so many programs, and just to hit on a few, it's kind of like when you're maybe mentioning people. I hate to start mentioning lines of insurance because there's so many, and we're going to leave some out. But from your liability to your management liability, which would include employment practices liability, your dealer open lot, which protects your inventory, the physical damage, the comp and collision. You've got umbrella that sits over your workers' compensation, your auto liability, your general liability, which would be, not only your premises, but also wherever your operations extend to. We have dealers now getting in the mobile service business. You need to make sure that your policy extends to wherever you're performing those services away from your premises. And so there's a lot of moving parts, no pun intended, in making sure dealers are protected.
Paul, the business is changing. You just called out remote services, mobile service. You're exactly right. A lot of times now the customer is having the work performed in their own driveway or at their place of work, and dealers are adding to their, they started off with one mobile service van. Now they've got fleets out there because the customer really likes the experience of not having to go to the dealership. So you help dealers with that. You help them to avoid potential problems, litigation, and also to make sure they're compliant as well.
Absolutely. So the way I would explain it to people is, car models change every year. There's always a new button. There's always a new technology. Maybe it's a new design. So insurance programs change. Exposures change. Change is constant. And so it's something that I would just encourage, whether you're working with IOA Dealer Practice Group or your broker that you work with today, sit down and have a conversation at least once a year. And I would encourage you to do it when it's not time to make a decision or when you're purchasing. Do it off renewal date and talk about your operations, talk about things you may be getting into or you want to get into, like mobile service. We're starting to see a mobile tire service in addition to oil changes and other things. So it's constantly changing, and I would just encourage people to sit down and have those conversations so the dealer can make sure he or she is protected.
And Paul, our dealers that are listening today, this is a lot of information that they're considering as you were just expanding on all of the different points that now are happening with the customer experience and customer expectations, and then also just where their employees are located today. They could potentially be in a customer's driveway. They could be on premises. They could be, driving a customer's vehicle, back to their residence or some place in transit, somewhere in between. So for our dealers that, really are kind of just getting started and maybe learning more about this, what are some of the ways that they can stay up to date with some of this, these ever-changing pieces? And do y'all provide consulting or any kind of guidance so dealers can stay on top of it?
We absolutely do. We are here. We are open to consulting on a fee basis. We don't have to work on your insurance program. You can stay with your local partner and consult with us for a fee. We will work with your broker directly for a fee if a dealer would like for us to do that. We would work to review your policies and give suggestions. We want to partner, and we're here to serve. That's what we want to do. And how a dealer chooses to engage us and allow us to serve them, we're ready, willing, and able to have that conversation.
Paul, I'm just thinking of all the different potential areas, right, where a dealer has risk, and that's the business we're in, right? There is risk in business, but as you mentioned, the business model of being a dealer is changing quite a bit. Customer expectations are changing a bit. The role of people who work in the dealerships is changing, from the technicians who are now sending. The technician used to be behind a garage door. We never saw them, Paul, and now they're sending multi-point inspection videos from a phone to the customer and telling the customer what they found on the vehicle. So there are all these areas, and the dealer's got to stay compliant. And there's different laws, and there's probably a lot of low-hanging fruit that you see when you go into dealerships as well. I don't know if you want to speak to some of that, but you really help to keep the dealers on their toes.
It is compliance is all day, every day.
Yeah.
We actually have a carrier now that is using AI technology, and some people are scared of AI. This is not Big Brother. When I mention this, this is simply a way for someone to use a camera system and the data provided by that camera system. So let's talk service area.
Yes.
Okay? We've got a vehicle on a rack. We're putting a tire on it. All right. So you've got the service tech reaching down, bending over with their back. And the way this works is, the technology works is when that person puts themselves in a position to create, or maybe after you make that same movement multiple times, at some point the human body is going to break, and you're going to create a soft tissue injury. And one of the hardest things to repair is a person's back. So in this particular example, there's an air jack sitting just to the right of this technician. All they had to do is roll it out, get that tire on an air jack, lift it up where he can just put it on the vehicle instead of having to bend over and pick it up.
Yes.
It's something that's simple. Or maybe you've got a parts operation and you're operating forklifts. Okay. I mean, we see all types of forklift near misses. And what this technology does is it sees it and it prompts the dealer. Because the way I would explain it is like this. I don't think there's anyone in any dealership that wants to go have a conversation with a spouse about an injury or, God forbid, a death. Those are your friends that you work with. They're your employees. You care about them. You want to protect them. And if that camera is catching that, you can prevent that loss. So from a compliance standpoint, from a risk management standpoint, again, it just needs to be all day, every day. Because if not, your insurance costs are going to increase.
And Paul, as you're talking about this, specific with employee scenarios, I'm also envisioning, there's a lot of exposure from a customer perspective too. I mean, there's customers, on the premises, if they're, wandering between places or maybe in places that they shouldn't be. But there's opportunities, it sounds like, for a lot of dealerships to really take inventory of all of this and be considerate of it. And I really, Paul, I want to also get your perspective because, as dealers are listening to this today, there's a lot of insurance firms out there that work with dealerships and that, provide services and look at reinsurance and employee benefits and all of these pieces. But why should a dealer work with you and the IOA dealer practice group?
Yeah, so I'll try and be brief because I think there are many reasons for a dealer to work with us. Number one, I think we're creative. I think we're a little more nimble than some of our competitors, and that's a big conversation to have. And I don't want to get deep down in the weeds, but one of the things we like to do is we like to start working about 3 months after a dealer's renewal, whether it be on their employee benefits, whether it be on their garage liability or garage package program, whether it be on F&I. We really want to do a deep dive into all of the segments of the business so we know all of the business, all of the exposure. And then we come back and we figure out how to provide solutions to the dealer. Again, I'm a little ADD, and when we start talking about all of the things we can do and we can provide, it's really hard for me to really focus because it is so much. And I think that, as you mentioned, there are many competitors. There are many competitors. And, I'm from Georgia originally. I was born in Georgia. At my college graduation, the college graduation speaker was Truett Cathy, which is the founder of Chick-fil-A.
Yes.
And, he said it's easier to succeed than to fail by doing things the right way. And we want to present dealers with best practices. And having said that, we want the experience. We're working on creating insurance as a consultative experience. We want you to view us just like you look at your lender, at your attorney, maybe at your relationship with your manufacturer, your OEM. I mean, we're here to serve as a partner. We want to partner with people, and people have different opinions. But if you're going to market every year, I think that's a bad strategy. Again, I can have a deeper conversation on that, but there's a cost to doing business, and if you're a dealer and you're giving the task to someone to go to market and they have to talk to me and several direct writers and maybe another broker or two, they've got about 40 hours tied up in meetings, which frankly may or may not produce results.
Yep. Good point. Very good point. And Paul, you know this space, you know the dealer space, you know the fixed operations space and all the pitfalls that dealers need to be aware of. What I'm thinking, Paul, is that as dealers now prepare for 2026, which is right around the corner, they're making their plans now. I'm thinking, Sarah, we'd like to invite you back, Paul, and let's have this conversation. Let's bring some dealers and dealer managers in, and let's have some conversations with you, and let's open the door and let's find out some of the things that we need to be aware of, and let's have some of the dealer people ask those questions as well, because I think that'll be a great perspective. Paul, if our audience wants to reach out to you, get more information on IOA, what's the best way to do that? I'm sure it starts with asking a couple of questions.
Sure. So, first, obviously, I think here on the screen, you might see my email address. Everybody loves email these days. Second, I would encourage people to go to our webpage, which is www.ioausa.com. We have a few tabs at the top of our page. I think it's maybe departments. And then, there's a tab. You tab down and you find we have these mini practice groups, and the dealer practice group is there. And what you'll find there is tons of information on who we are, the members of our team, and the list or broad spectrum of services that we provide.
Incredible stuff, Ted. It's going to be really exciting to hear more information from Paul and the IOA team as we continue the conversations.
Paul, on behalf of the Roundtable, Sarah and I want to wish you and your family and the Insurance Office of America family a happy Thanksgiving at the end of next week. And thank you for all you do to help our industry and help our dealers, and excited about what's ahead and learning more about what we all need to be aware of on the retail side.
Well, I can't wait for some turkey and dressing. So I hope wherever you all are with your family, your friends, you enjoy it. Have a great holiday and a great holiday season. And I look forward to coming back.
Yep, we'll see you in January before that big show out in Vegas. Now, are you heading out to Vegas I think it's early February this year?
We will be present in Vegas. Yes, sir. We will be present, and we'll try and make sure we catch up with you all. Or in Georgia, y'all. We'll catch up with y'all.
Yes.
Perfect. Everybody, Paul Elliott, he is risk management. He's a specialist in that area. He's with the Insurance Office of America, IOA, the Dealer Practice Group, here with us today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Every shot I take feels like destiny. Game on the lot, good at my legacy. The grind ain't free and it can't be bought. Grind ain't free and it can't be bought. Mind of a champion, I'm bringing every thought. I set the level, I set the tone. When the game's on the line, yeah, I'm standing alone. I set the level, I set the tone. When the game's on the line, yeah, I'm standing alone. They ain't never done it like this before. You know I'm the best, you can take that sword. They ain't never done it like this before. Set the bar high, then I raise that board.
Spiffy up your ride with Troy Blackwell and Ed Roberts in our next segment, filmed live at our Northwood pop-up event.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. I'm Sarah Vantine here with Ted Ings. We are at Northwood University, and today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable pop-up event, we have some very special guests, Ted.
We do. We have Troy Blackwell from SPIFFY with us and Ed Roberts from Mozart Ford Lincoln. Gentlemen, welcome to Northwood University.
Thanks. Great to be here.
Thanks. This is a phenomenal campus. It's an honor to be here. Ed, first time here at the Northwood.
It is first time here. I've done some things with the university, but never been on campus. So it's nice to come here and see it firsthand.
And you and I were chatting about your impression of the students, if you don't mind sharing.
Oh, yeah. We walked around last night and super impressed with the talent pool here. Selfishly, you want to keep the place quiet because you would love to just grab that talent and bring them yourself, but super impressed with them.
So, Troy, tell us a little bit about what's happening at SPIFFY. Maybe start about, what SPIFFY does, some of the things and services that you offer.
Yeah, well, SPIFFY's been around for 11 years. We've done 3.5 million services as a company. And so with all of our learnings, we're now taking what we've learned and we're introducing it into the dealership world. And where that is as Ford is probably the furthest along in mobile service. And as they introduce the vans to the market, that was great. They had that tool, but they didn't really have all the tools to manage that process. So where SPIFFY comes in is we built our own internal software to manage mobile service. And now we're applying it into the dealerships and giving those tools to be successful.
And Ed, you work with SPIFFY over at Muller.
Absolutely. And like Troy said, that it's one thing to roll a program out. It's another thing to be able to roll a program out at scale. And that's one thing that SPIFFY really helps us do, is bring that scalability in to where we can run multiple rather than just say we're in mobile, but we have mobile service. We can run mobile service to any customer that desires.
For a dealership like Ed's that has many, many units on the road, I would imagine this is extremely valuable.
Oh, very valuable. I mean, Ed certainly has opened up a lot of doors just by participating on panels, and me being here today gives us a stage to talk about mobile. But Ed and I talk about this quite often. It is still a relatively small community. And, you know, it's less of me selling my company and what we do. It's more about let's educate the dealerships on this profit center that is out there and what customers are asking for. Customers are absolutely asking for mobile service, and we got to teach the dealerships, you know, what part can we do to help them go to the customer, operate in their home, operate at their place of work. Because again, it's automotive is kind of the last industry to kind of get there. And so there's been a lot of things that came out of the pandemic. You think of DoorDash and Uber Eats and conveniences, and automotive is no different.
Troy, it's been really amazing to see all of the work that SPIFFY has been doing. But I think what's most exciting is this isn't just confined to one OEM brand like Ford. You have so many different dealership sizes and so many different brands that are represented.
Yeah, you know, it's, you know, Ford is kind of the leader, but the other OEs have recognized what they're doing, and they're trying to ask their dealer groups and participate in a mobile program. So Stellantis, even Hyundai is starting to ask and get into this, and we're excited about giving them the platform to manage mobile.
And Troy, I know there are a lot of dealers watching and OEMs who don't necessarily have that mobile structure yet. Is that something you can help both individual dealers and on the OEM and distributor level?
Yeah, so we usually sit down and we do a lot of consulting. I think even going back to meeting Ed a few years ago, flying down and understanding from Ed and the general manager and Jeremy Stevens, who runs mobile for their operation, and sit down and work shoulder to shoulder and try to find out what's working, what's not, what do you wish you had. And we may not have all the solutions, but we'll work together and then go back and we'll develop the software to help enhance it.
Well, it gives us the opportunity to align on the vision. Yeah, when you come in, you can understand what we're looking for and how we want to get there. And then that's where the tools come into place to help us get there. And with those things in place, it's one thing to have all the equipment to do it, but to put it into motion and actually go out and perform the services is two totally different things.
Yeah, and you know, Ed, we talk about the over 40 bands that they have, but we work with locations that just have one mobile band, and how do we get that active and get it started? Because at one point, Ed did start with one. Absolutely. So that's what we can help do.
And Ed, one of the things that has been most interesting about mobile service, a lot of dealerships that are just getting started think, oh, this is only oil changes and tire rotations, but you've really expanded it into covering all kinds of services.
Well, it is what we make it. And if we walk through our shops and we look at the number of vehicles that's worked on in our service departments that the lift is never set on, that work can be done in field. If we didn't need the lift there, then we don't need it in field either. And so that goes with repairs, it goes with module updates, it goes with set special order parts, and then obviously the service stuff that everybody does think of, that you think of with the quick service stuff, the oil changes, the tire rotations, replacement of tires. And SPIFFY has also been able to come out with some programs or some tools to help us with tire inspections to where we can show a customer in depth some more information on where they're at in the life cycle of their tires, and help them prepare as well as prepare better in the future as well.
I'm fascinated by that. I did see a couple things that SPIFFY has posted talking about measuring the tires. If you want to tell us about that.
Yeah, Easy Tread Tire Reader. You know what? I will compliment our engineering team and our staff at SPIFFY. They always are looking what's in the market, what tools have been used. And if we see something and we don't like what's there, we'll go back and try to build it ourselves. And so in this example, we built an Easy Tread Tire Reader device. One, we can put it on our vans. And we can do this mobily where we go out, as to Ed's point. It's a digital inspection tool, so it'll tie to our software. It'll tell the customer. They don't know what 30 seconds are. They don't speak in that language. So when you see red, yellow, or green, that's a good indicator of if you need tires. So in addition to that, we've also found that that device has been super helpful on the service drives. And it helps with the service advisor walking out and doing an active walk around and using the device to walk around with the customer and let the technology tell the customer that they need tires. And that's been also very helpful. In fact, we've doubled sales in some locations by them just using this tool.
And Troy, that's such an important part of the customer retention process. What are some other pieces regarding customer retention that you've seen at SPIFFY that have helped dealerships?
Yeah, I think, I keep going back to Ed here, but it's hard not to argue the numbers. I think he's over 70% retention because of mobile and the offering. You keep that customer in the ecosystem. One of the things that we started our businesses is mobile wash and detail. And a lot of dealerships may not think of that, but it gives another touch to that customer. And if you can touch that customer after their warranty expires, then that keeps them, again, in that ecosystem. So we're always looking at different things that can be done in the truck. Ed's team has also looked at doing some AC repair work on mobily. And that's kind of out of the box, but they hired a skilled tech that can do that work, and they go out and perform that task.
And when you live in Florida, it certainly fits. So certain environments may not fit as much, but the demand is certainly there in Florida. And it's about finding ways to not to say no. It's if those things are out there, if that need's out there, let's find a way to meet it. And when we look for ways to meet it, miraculously you can find them. But when you run into a barrier and you say, oh, well, we can't do that because of, you're right. Your mind believes everything you tell it. So you have to find ways to overcome those barriers. And SPIFFY's just been a great partner and help us overcome each and every barrier we run into.
And I want to touch back on one of the pieces because, you started with one mobile service van, today 40, and a lot of dealerships are not even in that process or getting started. And maybe when they're looking at Troy and SPIFFY, they're thinking about, well, what is really going on in that installation process? How do I get started? So could you share a little bit about what your experience was like with onboarding SPIFFY?
Well, as you get rolling in it, you run into barriers. You run into barriers that you don't even know are there. So I would challenge you now that because there is tools out there, there is guys like SPIFFY to where they can help you overcome those barriers that you haven't even thought about yet. Reach out early. Don't wait until you run into those obstacles. For us, starting with one, it's manageable with one if you're really focused on it. But once you start getting into 2, 3, and 4, you really need dedicated people. That's their job, to create the workload for those vehicles every single day and those people that run those vehicles. And it gets very convoluted to try to do it on Excel spreadsheets all the time. Excel helps us in a lot of ways, but when we can do it and we can make adjustments and we can make one switch here that changes everything through software, then that's when we're leveraging the tools that really helps us to make us be more efficient.
And Troy, what kind of feedback do you get from dealers when they get started and they're like, oh my gosh, this is really helping my whole process out?
They just don't know what they don't know. And I think that where we come in is this 11 years of experience where we can sit down and share best practices. Listen, we went out with a truck to go do an oil change and we had no oil. I mean, that's, you'd think that's a no-brainer, but those things can happen. And so we will sit down and show them, years of best practices and simply just sit down and come up with a strategy.
And Troy, finally, for our audience watching, I know in the past many have reached out to Ed Roberts for advice and counsel. Is SPIFFY a resource that our audience watching, if they have questions on how to get into mobile service, maybe some specifics that SPIFFY will be able to help them with?
Yeah, just, find me on LinkedIn. Certainly can drop an email to me at any time. Cell phone's always on. So we will be happy to fly out, sit down with your team, do virtual demos, whatever we need to do to just really educate. It's less selling, it's more consulting, and see what we can do to help you.
Well, gentlemen, thank you for what you're doing for the industry. You've really helped us turn the corner and open our eyes to remote services.
Thank you, Ted. It's an honor to share, and I look forward to watching the industry transform into mobile service.
All right. I'm Ted Ings. I'm here with Troy Blackwell from SPIFFY, Ed Roberts, and Sarah Van Tyne. We're at Northwood University, and we will be right back.
Fixed Ops is taking a page out of Hot Wheels' book. Learn how we're burning rubber this time around the track in our next panel.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. I'm Sarah Vantine here with Ted Ings. Today we have the Affinitiv panel. And Ted, we're talking about how fixed ops is hot again, but what's different this time?
Well, Sarah, thank you for that. I think what's different is that not only do we have our great friend Dean Martin, the Vice President of Marketing at Affinitiv, but we've also got the CEO, Sharon Kitzman. Sharon, welcome, and Dean, welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Great to be here.
Great to have you here. We have a lot of important things to talk about. So, Sarah, I'll let you get everything underway.
Absolutely. Sharon, I'll come to you first with this. We're hearing that you have a lot of dealer feedback and insights, related to a lot of different pieces that you're seeing across the industry. But I first want to talk about dealership days supply. So we know that dealership day supply for vehicles has been steadily increasing. And what are some of the top factors that we need and dealers need to keep in mind as we shift back into fixed ops as the revenue driver?
Yeah, I mean, over the last several years, it's been turmoil in the dealership associated with the days of supply, vehicle shortages, chip shortages, and then through the pandemic and the different pricing scenarios that happened. We feel like we're getting back to almost normal with days of supply. And as we do, and vehicles are not priced as high from a margin perspective as maybe dealers have enjoyed over the past recent years, we do need to shift our focus to fixed operations from a revenue, a margin, and certainly to ensure that we keep our focus on our client bases. It's a simple math problem, really, at the end of the day. If consumers are purchasing a new vehicle, maybe every 3 to 5 years, depending on their financing or leasing plans, the touch point between the sales department and the consumer is only once every 3 to 5 years. Whereas in fixed operations, specifically the service drive and the advisor, those touch points are more frequent with the consumer. And because of that, you have a better opportunity to really influence the consumer with touch points through marketing initiatives like our Essentials product, or online solutions like our book product, where you can book an appointment at the dealership. And then certainly once you're in the dealership, between the advisor and the consumer, really building trust around the entire service process.
And Dean, this is so interesting because, right now, Ted and I, we've had a lot of conversations at the Fixed Ops Roundtable around fixed operations being the revenue driver. So I'd love to get your perspective as we're seeing, the days of on market for vehicles increasing and fixed ops becoming more important to that profitability.
Yeah, in talking with dealers, one of the things that we like to reinforce is the old mantra has been for a long time is just exceeding those customer expectations. But now dealers have to look at this from the perspective of you've got to take that mantra of exceeding customer expectations and you've got to simplify the process and make it effortless for customers, because that's the world that we live in, particularly when we talk about some of the younger generations and what they're used to, and the digital world that they're in, and making things very easy. Things like pickup and delivery, making the service process as simple as possible, I think needs to be the direction for increased revenue for these dealers and fixed ops.
I like that. Sharon, when we look at the service experience as a whole, there are some generational preferences, and they differ. And in fact, I have found that Affinitiv is really great, probably best in market at identifying these. What do you see happening out there, and why is that important at this time?
Well, I just happen to have one of the reasons I think that we're great at it. Each year we do a consumer survey. This one's from 2024. I think Dean and his team just wrapped on the 2025 survey. And from that, we just got a ton of really great data, facts that we can, put into our advertising for our solutions, use as we talk to dealers about the return on investment for the offerings that we have. But specifically, as we look at the service experience and generational preferences, you certainly have your Gen Zs and your millennials who are tech native, and they're going to look to technology first before ever picking up the phone and speaking to someone in a live environment. So allowing our dealers and our team to understand the facts and how they want to experience things at the dealership, and then work with the dealers to ensure that that experience is real, is a key component to how we partner with the dealers. Specifically, Gen Z and millennials are saying that they just have a high confidence in recognizing when they are actually interacting with AI in the form of a chatbot. And they prefer it by 61% to interacting with even a person in a chatbot. So those trends are happening, and they need to be recognized by the dealer so the dealer can make the right decisions on technology that serves their consumer in the service department.
And Dean, as a follow-up, if I may, dealers are actually now allowing a budget for marketing on fixed ops. That wasn't the case years ago, right? And now, or it wasn't much of a case, but now, as you've all pointed out, it's so important on the service drive and in parts as well.
Absolutely. And what's interesting about that is we're seeing a lot more of the campaign requests coming through that are focused on fixed ops and service offers and everything. And a greater communication preference that goes across not only email, but for chat and text, and being able to kind of moderate how those communications are going out based on the preferences of the vehicle owners. And one thing that we need to remind dealers of, it's not always about speed and trying to get that communication out as quickly as possible, particularly when you have a vehicle in service, because sometimes if you just have a little bit more time, it's allowing your customers to make more logical decisions, right? And if they prefer text and they're showing a preference for that, then it's incumbent on the dealers to focus on that.
Dean, I want to come back into that other point that you made regarding, with this focus on, the repair orders in the dealership and having, some of that awareness of what the customer is going through, throughout that process. And what we've been seeing, Ted and I have had a lot of conversations, and we're seeing a lot of different pieces with OEMs, putting a lot of emphasis on warranty work and really prioritizing those customers and those vehicles that are under, that 2-year, 3-year period. And those are the customers that they're marketing, and those are the pieces that they're really hyper focused on. But the reality is a lot of customers are holding onto their vehicles for longer. And we're seeing more and more of customers defecting at later points in their ownership cycle to independent shops and other places. So, Dean, with what you're seeing around the country with this evolving RO mix, how do dealers bring back that growth for customer pay ROs?
Yeah, I think a lot of it really lies in being able to exhibit that expertise. When we look at the total OEM warranty ROs growing by 19%, and then we compare that to the customer pay RO growth at only about 2.2%, then that's an indicator that expertise and that knowledge that's shared by the technicians and the service advisors is so critical during that period of time, because you're reflecting the knowledge base that exists for some of these newer vehicles, particularly EVs, where there is so much software and there's so much technology in these things that a lot of because typically Gen Z is going to be the generation that's going to try to do it themselves, but with the level of technology and the sensors and running codes and being able to repair some of these, the Teslas and Rivians that come in, there's that knowledge base that exists that will probably go long beyond when the warranty expires. So I think that the expertise is a big play. So I think that's a big focus.
Sharon, how are you seeing dealers, really strategize these pieces? Dealers need to be focusing on this customer pay, repair order business in order to really sustain their bottom line.
Yeah, they sure do. And, we're seeing this at the dealers as well as the manufacturers. A focus on transparency in the process. To Dean's point earlier, maybe a Gen Z who would have looked up how to do something on YouTube or fiddled around with it themselves, who is now completely out of their realm in a higher tech vehicle, needing to bring it to the dealership for the repair, but still feeling uncomfortable about the process. So a huge effort in transparency about what's going on. I'm sure you guys have seen it, but plate glass windows that allow the consumer to look right into the technician repair bays in the service department, as well as tech video, right? The technician taking actual video of the repairs that need to be done, whether it's a frayed wiring harness or, a dirty air filter or tire tread depth issues, whatever it is, and really showing that through a video to the consumer eliminates kind of that fear and uncertainty about what's really going on with my vehicle behind the wall. So we encourage our dealer clients to embrace that, to get in front of the consumer fear and be transparent with the repairs that are happening, and that will eventually then bring those consumers back in for those repairs longer term.
I love it. It speaks to the transparency, Sharon, and the trust that we're building. And now here's the technician suddenly becoming front facing, right, with the customer. So the customer enjoys hearing from the tech. I want to ask you, Sharon, there's been a lot of discussion in the industry about CDPs and first party data. What is the simplest way for dealers who are focused on fixed operations and retention to understand what it is that they need to do?
Well, Ted, I've been in the industry for, I'll just say 30 plus years, and about 30 of those years have really been affiliated with DMS businesses. And I can tell you, unfortunately, no one has cracked the code on ensuring that inside of the DMS, the client or the customer file is clean and up to date. In fact, most dealers have more duplicates than they'd like to admit or like to talk about. So really understanding the data through a CDP or other services that are available, and making sure that the data that you're using to market and follow up with your consumer is accurate, and a single point of reference within the systems is critical. The stat that we have associated with this is that 55% of dealerships DMS is comprised of customers who have not been in over to that dealership in over the last 12 months. So finding a really good marketing initiative, we have one called Essentials that helps you not only keep that database clean and accurate, but staying in touch with your consumer to bring them back into the dealership will continue to allow you to update that consumer data into the area, whether it be phone or email or text, that the consumer wants you to communicate with them long term as well.
I love it. And Dean, I saw recently average age of a vehicle on the road today has never been higher. Okay. Somewhere between 12 and 13 years. This really plays into the fixed ops, and your thoughts on the data and simplest way to focus on retention.
Yeah, with data, as we all know, the most important thing with data is managing it at a high level of quality, trying to unify a lot of those fields, filling out a lot of the missing gaps. Customer records change all the time. So ensuring that, number one, your service advisors are capturing all of the information they can, making sure that email address is filled out, making sure the home address is confirmed, making sure all that the critical customer data is confirmed when they arrive for their service visit. And then then you got to start looking at how your DMS, your CRM, and if you have a CDP, how it's being used to communicate to your customers. Because a lot of times dealers use their CDP as a one-way communication with marketing. And the ideal way is to make it a two-way communication so that you're communicating to your customers. Your customers are replying to you, and it creates a conversation so that it's a closed loop where you're getting information from the customer. And in the event that you have somebody that's in your database, maybe they're a lost customer, that you segment those properly so that you communicate to those who maybe haven't been in for 2 years because their warranty just expired, and you have the ability to create offers and communications that speak directly to them versus a loyal customer who's already coming in. So you can strengthen those offers for those particular customers.
Sharon, I love the pieces that Dean is sharing, and I want to come back to the point that you made previously, which was, transparency is continuing and is going to be an ongoing focus for franchise dealers. But I want to talk a little bit about, some of the challenges around creating that transparency. So as Dean was saying, sometimes if a dealer isn't paying attention to how their marketing communications are going out to their customers, that customer can experience kind of a fragmented, experience between sales, service, parts, or, anywhere along the process as they're getting their car serviced. So I'd love to get your perspective. What are some ways that dealers can more effectively create these seamless transparency components into their fixed op strategy?
Well, I think having one marketing initiative and kind of one sense of the truth between your data and your customer experiences, getting those campaigns dialed in so that you're not wearing the consumer out, but you're hitting them in a just-in-time position, and making sure that that just-in-time position is accurate based on the vehicle, the type, the mileage, the age of the vehicle, and the repairs that are needed. It's always good, I think, and we have stats that prove it as well, to communicate to the consumer in the way that they want to be communicated to. And that doesn't always allow for as much of the traditional graphics and things like that maybe have happened in the past. But the consumer process and what their preferences are is really what the dealer needs to be trained on from that transparency perspective. You don't get to just do what you want anymore. There are consumer rights out there, and communicating to that consumer in the way that they want to be communicated to is the best bet in getting that consumer back into the dealership.
Dean, it sounds like there's a lot of factors to consider when you're implementing transparency. So there's a lot of different ways that dealers looking at this process, they're going to have to analyze a lot of different components to make sure that everything is getting communicated in the way that the customer wants in this experience.
Yeah, exactly. And from the customer's perspective, if you are taking your vehicle in for service, they put it through MPI and they discover some things. Statistically, that individual, particularly Gen Z, they find they're much more trustworthy if there is the use of video or photo versus just taking the word of mouth of the service advisor for what may be needed for the vehicle. So being able to have that is tremendous. It also, there's a difference between telling someone that there's something wrong with your vehicle and also giving them the evidence to support that idea, to say, here's what we found. And sometimes it's literally an address from the technician to the customer saying, Sarah, I found these things. I looked at, the checkpoints for A, B, and C. We found these things. We recommend this. This looks good. You have the option of this, so good, better, best options is always really good. And as far as transparency, and when we look at where the industry is going, and from social media and the interaction that happens from the dealership to wider audiences, both from the sales and service aspects of the dealership, I like to refer to what's happening with, if you guys are familiar with Doug Horner and Benzos and Bow Ties, he does a fantastic job with showing that level of transparency with what happens in the behind the scenes of a dealership. Because, as a GM, he's having people come into his office and he's showing the entire process. They're talking about the, credit score, if they're negative equity, there's details that you wouldn't have otherwise been able to see 20 years ago that just didn't exist. So that level of transparency, I think, is setting the standard for both sales and for service. And now we have the technology and the tools to be able to do that. We at Affinitiv, we have our tech video, which allows that to happen, along with our MPI product.
And I want to ask you both, if you don't mind, about how EVs factor into the fixed op strategy as dealers are now looking forward into next year, making plans in terms of providing a superior customer experience. I don't know who'd like to take that one first, but I want to make sure I query you both on that. EVs.
Yeah, I can jump in with just a couple of my thoughts. I think one of the big things is ensuring that technicians are fully trained on all of the latest technology, because EVs are moving so quickly with the development and the growth and the improvement of these vehicles. It's a moving target, and sometimes it's tough to keep the technicians fully educated on all of those vehicles. And then also managing expectations for the customer. You're going to get more tire wear, and you're going to have to replace your tires much sooner. So things like that, I think, are, again, plug into transparency and communication, but also strengthens that relationship with your customers.
Okay. Last question for today. I'll make it a lightning round. So I'd like to come to Sharon first and then Dean to bring it home. You've got about a minute on this one. All right. As I mentioned earlier, dealers are now, here we are in the middle of the fourth quarter. They're making their plans, not for just this year. Now they're looking into next year, and they're doing those things. They're doing budgets. They want to make up for that lost revenue from the variable side on fixed ops. So a lot of fixed ops directors and service and parts managers, are feeling that. Okay. So, Sharon, first, if you will, what are some of the things that we can expect, and how can Affinitiv help? And what do you have also coming up? If I can peer into the new year, I imagine you both will be at NADA as well in early February.
Yes, that's correct. And we hope there's no ice or snow in Vegas this year. So that not only will we be there, but hopefully all the dealers can also attend instead of having flights canceled and all the kind of madness that happened last year. I think what's unique about Affinitiv as fixed operations directors, service managers think about the tools that they need to tackle generating revenue and margin in fixed operations for 2026 is that Affinitiv and its suite of solutions really touch the vehicle at all different points in the process, from sales to service, through the service process with our book and MPI and Smart Lane technology, along with our ongoing marketing through Essentials. And then even when that client has equity in their vehicle, our sales to service process flips back to sales, and our quote product kind of jumps in and allows the sales team in the dealership to get that client back and put them in a new vehicle through that great effort that the fixed operations team has had and the great relationship that they've forged over that last 3 to 5 years, as we've been talking about earlier.
Dean, you got the last word.
Yeah, I will say convenience and transparency are really two of the biggest drivers moving into 2026 and beyond, because the further we go into, this age of the experience economy, things need to feel simpler. It shouldn't feel like going to the dentist to take the car to get service, right? And so we've also seen, as you guys are probably aware, customers are 3 times more likely to choose the dealership again when they rate that experience as excellent or superior, And so these modern customers expect a dealership experience that aligns with what they're used to, photo and video. They like to see the status of the vehicle. They like to do a lot of these things, particularly younger generations. They like to get the information online through a portal and perhaps even with not much face-to-face interaction. So, dealers have a tremendous opportunity to win over these customers and retain some of these customers over the long period of time, over their competitors and also from the independent repair facilities. So,
Dean, where's the best place our audience can learn more about Affinitiv if they want to take the next steps or have some of their questions answered, which I know they will?
Sure. Our website is affinitiv.com. That's AFFINITIV.com. And if for any specific questions, you can reach us at solutions@affinitiv.com, and we'll be happy to have a conversation with you.
Great. We're looking forward to an exciting new year, seeing you both at NADA early in the year. And I'd like to invite you both back in January. We're going to have another show before the big show out in Vegas. And Sharon, if you have any big announcements, that'll be a great place to make it right before people come out. So just in case it does snow out there, they'll be sure to hear it here on the roundtable. So
don't even say it out loud.
Very grateful to both of you, Dean Martin, Sharon Kitzman from Affinitiv. Learn more at affinitiv.com. And by the way, on behalf of Sarah and myself, we want to wish both of you at the end of next week a very happy Thanksgiving to you and your families and the Affinitiv family. And thank you for all you do for the industry.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Thanks, Sarah.
All right. Dean Martin and Sharon Kitzman from Affinitiv here with us today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Create the ultimate lane experience with the Affinitiv Service Suite. And set your dealership apart with integrated solutions powered by data. Make your service bay more profitable with Affinitiv Book. Offer scheduling anytime online in 3 minutes or less. Display vehicle service history, maintenance reminders, and dynamic offers through a unique customer portal search. Affinitiv Book can help you see a 97% average service capacity utilization. Plus, enjoy flexible management options and increase shop throughput by defining service intervals. Enjoy mobile and desktop write-up with Affinitiv Smart Lane. Welcome customers in the lane and provide seamless sign-and-go experiences. Perform quick vehicle walkarounds and capture potential repair opportunities via annotated photos and videos. Review factory maintenance plans and previously declined repairs to recommend services and obtain instant approval. Streamline processes with adaptive workflow technology that enables you to roll appointments into ROs. Increase efficiency and customer transparency with Affinitiv MPI. Complete more MPIs and drive service recommendations with preset templates and custom workflows. Capture every repair. Send RO updates via the MPI app, SMS, and email. Plus, monitor statuses and filter by workflow events from the MPI ledger. Put visuals behind your service recommendations with Affinitiv Tech Video. Explain inspections with up to 7 minutes of HD recording. Ensure clear audio by eliminating background noise. Or disable feature to capture specific vehicle noises. Attach to a customer's account with instant playback. Expedite approvals and increase CSI by sending the video to a customer's email. Expedite approvals and increase CSI by sending the video to a customer's email or phone via Affinitiv messaging. The Affinitiv Service Suite is designed for dealers centered on customers. Affinitiv, elevating the dealership experience.
Quit driving donuts. Join us back in the fast lane with the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Go Speed Racer, go! Our next speaker is Cobi Collins from Go TREGO.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. I'm Sarah Vantine here with Teddings. We have a special guest with us today. We're at the CAMS Industry Summit at Northwood University, and Go TREGO is with us. And Ted, who do we have here?
We have the one and only Cobi Collins from Go TREGO here with us, second year in a row at the International Auto Show. Welcome back, and give us some feedback on what you've seen so far.
Okay, great. Should we take the mic?
Please.
So far, it has been really incredible. Obviously, this is such a special place to be because the students just have outdone themselves. And it's so impressive to see young people who know how to be wildly professional and want to engage. And the two of you are so good at bringing together industry experts. So I feel like I am in very special company here. But learning about what's happening in the industry, how to partner with AI, and Brian Benstock sharing, why it matters that we are constantly improving and growing in technology and that we work with it. And being in the talent space and making sure we know what's right, that we talk about talent, it's true that AI is not replacing your jobs. So I don't care what anyone has said to you, AI is not taking over what humans do, but we as humans have to know how to work with this technology. And I'll tell you that the students coming out of Northwood know how to do it better than anybody else. And so we need to make sure they have a place to land once they graduate.
Well, and Cobi, to touch on that a little bit more, so you were talking about, the caliber of the students here, which are second to none. They are just amazing individuals. Everywhere you go on campus, everyone is so proficient at what they say. They're very, very inspiring youth. And there's a lot of pieces that Go TREGO looks at when it comes to the whole individual. I want you to walk us through that a little bit more. Like, what are some of the assessments that students particularly would be looking at taking?
Okay, great. We've actually done a pilot here on campus, and we've taken a look at the students and who is suited for what roles in the industry, and making sure that as they're studying and moving into their majors or moving into their specialties in the automotive program, that we know who should actually be mentored into leadership, into those GM roles. We know everybody wants to be a GM, but not everybody is built to be in exactly that same way. And we need to fill all the positions. And so we take a look at uncovering talent and where people fit the job, where they will be successful long-term. So sales is exciting and it's sexy, but maybe you've got somebody moving into sales that really should be your fixed ops director. And we want to make sure they know how to fit and where are the skills gaps that we can help the professors here address. And then those students can take that preparation into the real world, and dealers who are hiring them will know the gaps have been addressed. And so now we just need to do a little bit of polishing, and we're getting these students to the cutting edge. Can we give them the slight edge in the industry so that your dealership or your organization succeeds in doing what you set out to do?
And Ted, one of the things that's been really amazing about Go TREGO is they've been an amazing partner at the Fixed Ops Roundtable, but Cobi specifically at the Roaring 20s event, she really brought the level of fun to it. And that's another thing about Go TREGO that I think is really interesting.
Yes, a lot of fun with Go TREGO. And I have to say, here this morning at the CAMS Industry Summit, it was very refreshing to see Mike Grubich from Go TREGO on that first panel that talked about a lot of things, but he really honed in on the importance of the people. And I don't know if we want to talk a little bit about that, but that's really Go TREGO's sweet spot.
It really is. So, again, we're talking about technology so much here because it is what's swirling around us, and we have to keep up with it. And you all know that it is the people that makes this industry work. It is not just the numbers, it is not just the bottom line, but it's about the people. And so we want to make sure the human connection stays. So our tools are scientifically based, and there's no AI or automated learning or machine learning in them, but we use technology to put it quickly in the hands of the hiring managers and make it easy for applicants and candidates to complete.
Cobi Collins, congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Go TREGO, you're a certified partner with the Fixed Ops Roundtable. Great to have you a big part of Northwood University and what's happening here. There's a lot ahead. I know you can feel the energy here, and Sarah and I are excited to have you.
Yes, it is always exciting to be here. So much buzz. So thank you so much.
We're coming back from Northwood University, everybody.
Welcome to the high-stakes world of the intern. Only the most dedicated, hard-working, and eager student will stand out above the rest and earn exclusive opportunities, recognition, and rewards from the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
It's time to turn the tables. This time, it's more than just an internship. It's a competition. We're hosting an entire reality show.
10 interns will enter the boardroom. Only one will win it all. Who will drive their career to the top?
We'll see you in the boardroom.
Race your way to the summit as we hear from past Northwood Auto Show chairs in our next panel filmed live at our CAM Summit pop-up event.
Welcome back to Northwood University. We are at the CAMS Industry Summit, and today we have an incredible panel with us, Ted.
Sarah, we do. We have the past Northwood University International Auto Show chairs with us here today. Great honor to have them here in person. We're going to ask you each to introduce yourself and what you do today for the industry, starting with Nikki.
Good morning, Nikki Paschall. I am the Customer Experience Marketing Manager for McAllister Cat.
What year was your auto show?
I was the vice chair in 08 and general chair in 09, I think. Or 07 and 08. It's been too long.
Hi, my name's Art White. I was a general chair in 1990, dating myself a little bit. But I'm the managing partner of AW Auto Group in Southwest Michigan.
Good morning. My name is Chris Guance. I'm with the Central Maine Motors Auto Group. I'm the owner-operator. I'm glad to not be the oldest panelist up here, thanks to my good friend Art. I was auto show chairman in our show was Preview 92 in the fall of 91.
Good morning, Rob Wilson, president of Mid-Michigan Materials, Sand and Gravel operation in Southeast Michigan. I was chair of Northwood University International Auto Show in 2004 and the vice chair in 2003.
Lots of incredible people on this panel today. Nikki, I want to start with you because these experiences at the Northwood University International Auto Show really set the stage for the rest of your career and the opportunities that come. So I'd love to hear your perspective. What was the experience like when you were working with the Northwood University International Auto Show?
I think looking back is when it sets in. As a student, you sort of just do what you have to do. You know, you're running the largest automotive show, still the largest outdoor show. It is I think, the most prestigious event we have on campus. President McDonald called it our Super Bowl, or maybe Matt Bennett called it our Super Bowl. But you learn to work with everyone here on campus, whether it be students, whether it be other departments, whether it be faculty. You need everybody from a resource perspective to make the show work. 50,000 people coming through a campus in 3 days is no small feat. Having to manage everything from traffic logistics to trash removal, getting 500 cars on and off campus. It sort of stretches you as a student, but I don't think you fully realize it until you look back on the show. And so it's surreal even sitting here however many years later, 15. We won't count for everybody else. It really looking back at the entirety of the project, how much work you endure as a student. And it's because you love it. Like the cars are what drive us, right? No pun intended. It really is sort of this accidental success that happens. And it's just so fun while you're in it.
And Art and Chris and Rob, this experience is really unique. And how has yours been impacted and how do you carry it forward into what you do today?
Well, I think, I was looking back at, like Nikki said, I was amazed they gave me the responsibility, because, when you factor in all the different things that we experienced, I was just telling a gentleman earlier, depending on when this show is, we can have snow. So, you know, a lot of different factors factored into it. So I think my takeaway from it was it just gave me such a broad experience to deal with people, to deal with problems, and to accelerate in life.
So for me, I'd have to say what I really learned from the auto show, on top of what these two have mentioned, is the ability to pivot. You know, you're thrown all sorts of things that could take you in a different direction, and you have to be able to pivot. And you can't get wrapped up in what you can't do. You've got to talk about what you can do, because there'll be plenty of people that'll tell you what you can't do. You know what you can do, and that's what you have to do. And so learning how to pivot is one of the most important things that I think I learned through the auto show, with all of the different challenges that we had. One story in particular that comes to mind that had to do with the People for Ethical Treatment of Animals, PETA. They told us the day before that they wanted to protest at the show. And so rather than get all excited, we sat, we came up with a game plan, and we decided, let's kill them with kindness. So we asked them if they wanted a booth. We asked them if they wanted to be on the mall walk. They didn't know what to do with that, because usually they're met with some sort of conflict. But because we pivoted, and because we came up with a different plan and strategy to make them our ally opposed to our enemy, we were able to very quietly let them do what they wanted to do, and had a really great show. And we all felt so empowered by being challenged by that pivot and finding a way through together.
Going last is fun. Wow, those were some good answers. I think for me, it was the first real opportunity to work and to understand what it is to lead a team. We all maybe had opportunities in high school, but no matter what role you played in the auto show, whether you were on the executive board or whether you were a member of the team, we were one big team, and you have to pivot. You have to overcome the challenges, no matter how much you plan. And it's 11 to 12 months worth of planning. Weather can play a factor, as Art said, or any of these other things. And so it's how can your team adapt and make this show a success? And that I think is the lesson I still take with me every single day.
I'd like to ask each of you the following question, and this time I'll start with Rob, all right? Some of you are the owners of dealerships today, and I want to go back to your Northwood University experience as a whole, not just the auto show. Rob, how did Northwood University prepare you for your career? What can you share with the audience that's here today, watching from the outside, especially those who don't know a lot about Northwood University yet until they meet us?
Well, so I candidly don't own a dealership. I went back after my time at Northwood, after graduating from DeVos, and decided to go into my family business of sand and gravel, and here I am 20 years later still working there. So I love the automotive industry. I follow it as an enthusiast, and am passionate about it. But what did Northwood or this experience do for me? Just as I kind of touched on, I don't care what industry or what career you're in, we all have different things that come up. And how do you adapt to those? How do you inspire people? How do you motivate your group? And I think that the opportunity that Northwood gave me to lead a student-run event of 600 plus people is something that prepared me in a way that not any other college or university would give another student. So that's what I find most valuable.
Thank you. Chris, same question for you.
So for me, I think one of the things that Northwood did to help prepare me for a career in the auto industry is to teach the value of relationships. You know, Northwood's a small school. It's a very intimate school. And it's a school or a college or an institution where you can actually get to know the professors and be able to let them coach you a little bit through some of those things that you might experience. Like, you better be on time for that 8 o'clock class. Don't be late for your quiz, or make sure you are prepared for the interviews when they are available. So for me, the relationships that the college has provided have really made the difference, because there's a value in every relationship, and you never know where a relationship will take you. You've just got to let it take you there and be willing to accept what that relationship presents to you. So pay close attention to your friends, get to know the teachers, know who the administration is, know who the board members are, and develop those relationships, because you never know where that relationship will take you. And if you work with it and cultivate it and develop it, it'll help you out in the end as you get to help it throughout its course of its existence.
I think what it did is it prepared me for change. I started in the industry in the computer business, a little company called EDS, Saturn, and I traveled across the country opening up Saturn dealerships and worked from there back into retail, to a stint in roofing, and then a stint in finance with Primus Automotive Financial Services, back into retail. So it gave me the ability to challenge and, as Chris said, pivot. So it definitely prepared me.
I think I would agree with Chris the most, and it's not what you know, it's who you know. I can teach anybody that I hire how to work Excel, how to use software, how to use hardware. I can't teach the relationship part as easily. And so the Northwood friendships, the Northwood relationships that you guys will form while you're here, the four of us see each other every year still at Auto Show. We have a general chair past breakfast. Whether we want to see each other or not, I suppose is the question. But every year this show brings us back together. Every job I've ever had outside of college is somehow tied to a Northwood alumni. I have tried to mentor and be a mentee of Northwood alumni since my time here and my 15 years away. So it is the network that is, I think, stronger than ever. But it is that foundation that was laid. If you were late to an 8 a.m. class, the door was locked. No questions. We'll see you tomorrow. We had professors in the previous automotive professors would call you if you didn't show up to class. So the foundation was laid and the expectations were extremely high, and that's carried through to my adult life as well. My daughter's in the front row. You can probably ask her what that has meant for her first 10 years of life. It's definitely continued. The Northwood idea is alive and well at our house.
Nikki, I want to come back to you about and go down the line with Art and the rest of our panel. All of you have been Northwood University International Auto Show chairs, and you all have done it at such different points in time. And today, Katrina Ness is here in the audience and the chair today. But the skills that you have and that you acquired here at Northwood University, they transcend the auto show and they transcend into what all of you are doing in your individual roles. So what skills do you feel will be most valuable for the next generation entering the workforce?
I'll speak to the ladies in the room for just a second. I was the second female general chair. I'm happy that the number is much higher today. The show and my time here taught me how to find my voice in a room. I sell Caterpillar equipment. I can't tell you how many times I walk into the room and I'm still the only girl. So learning how to find my seat at the table, find my voice, and articulate my side of the story, it is essential going forward to listen to the ladies in the room. And there might only be one, so she has to speak up. But I think also learning how to work with different personalities, it's something that we work really hard at McAllister on, is learning your personality type, how you work with others, and how you need to be worked with. And so being able to do that across an executive board, across a student body, and then going into a professional corporate job amongst a team of 3,000, it's a lot of personalities. And so learning how to, what you need from the conversation and what they need from the conversation are usually two totally different things. So being able to translate that across has been really beneficial.
Yeah, I think my experience with it was really learning how to communicate and being able to express an idea of what I wanted to have done in my head and what actually happened were always two totally different things, and learning not to be upset about it, but learning how to work with people and how to extract their talent to get that job done, I think was just imperative. And it was one of the greatest gifts I certainly got from the Northwood Auto Show.
I guess from from my standpoint, one of the things that Northwood prepared me for was how to work, as these two have also said, with a group of people, but not from the standpoint of top down, but from bottom up. So how do you build that consensus? How do you pick that direction? How do you get folks who need to be coached in the right way? Northwood and the way that it does that through the auto show experience is very obvious in our day-to-day operations at our stores at home. You will not find another opportunity like this. The question is, will you walk through the door as it opens? And don't be afraid to walk through that door, because it's just an opportunity to learn. It's just a chance to get better. And if you talk about what you can do, like we talked about earlier, you'll find that that Northwood education prepared you for all the things that you can do throughout the course of your life. You just got to do it.
Yeah, for me, even though we consider this a small university, coming from a very small high school in the thumb of Michigan, it exposed me to different walks of life, different approaches. My vice chair was this very loud, outspoken Southern man that taught me a lot. And so it teaches you, as we've talked about, to adapt. It also it just cements, I believe, how you approach your life, and it gave me the opportunity to discover who I was, what I was capable of, and really that if you want something, and I think that's what Northwood nurtures in a way that not every place does. There's nothing standing in your way but yourself, and this auto show really gives you that ability to put what you talk about in the classroom to work, and to learn how to work and collaborate with your friends and colleagues.
Question I have for Chris. A lot of the students who are here today will be graduating in the spring and go on to the workforce. Many are getting a head start with internship programs that we have seen as very successful coming out of Northwood. It seems there's no shortage of opportunities for them. Chris, if I can, what skills will be most valuable for this next generation of students who are going to be entering the automotive workforce? What do you think?
Well, that's a pretty large question, because there are so many things that the auto industry offers for people. So I think some of the skills, and we've heard it today, people, right? People. But not only that, I think a skill that has to be developed are those skills that are going to bring the best out of folks. And that's not the same for everybody. And so you have to kind of learn and figure out what's it going to take, right? And I guess for me as a car dealer, the entrepreneurial spirit is probably one of the most important things you have, because you can't get beaten down by what goes on around you. You have to look for the good, and you have to be able to identify that good, and then you have to be able to coach that good into a way that provides value for the person whom you're working for, especially if it's for yourself. And so I think one of the skills that really people have to pay attention to is the entrepreneurial skills of life, because you will be challenged every day, and you'll have to figure out that way to go through that challenge that's in front of you, so that you can get out of life what you'd like to have.
I like that. Nikki, same question for you. What skills will be most valuable for this next generation of students entering the automotive workforce?
I touched on it a little bit at the beginning, Ted, but it really is those soft skills. So I can teach anybody our software system. I can teach you how to load inventory. I can teach you how to search the website, whatever. I can't teach you necessarily how to hold a conversation at lunch. I can't coach all the way through how to write a professional email. It is amazing the skills that you learn here at Northwood that are not taught at other schools. Much more expensive schools, much more prestigious schools on paper. And so to be able to have that skill coming out with a 4-year degree or the 3-in-1 graduate program, to walk into a job and be a professional, polished individual that has people skills. I'll touch on what Chris was talking about. that can hold a conversation, that can write a professional email, that can answer the phone. I know that sounds so crazy, but nobody knows how to answer the phone anymore. And so very, very soft skills on how to be a productive member of the organization.
There's a lot of students in our audience here today, and there's a lot of people that are looking for, mentorship or advice. And this panel, who better to share some words of wisdom with our students that are in the audience today? Art and Rob, I'd like to come to y'all first. What piece of advice would you say happened here at Northwood University, and how has it affected your life?
What piece of advice? I would say, the communication skills that I learned here, the grit that I learned here, the persistence to keep moving forward no matter what, are my biggest takeaways, because through the adversity of being in the automobile business for, 40 plus years, you got to be able to take it on the chin every now and again. And, that determination, that willingness, I've come back here for 39 years to recharge my batteries, and it's a reset. So Northwood's given me that gift to always continue on, to always get up and try harder the next day. So determination.
For me, it was when I was chair of the auto show, and our advisor would tell me it's lonely at the top, because when you're in charge of the show, you're it, and so ultimately it's your responsibility. And that was the first time in my life that I had that pressure and that opportunity. So that's something I take with me every single day. And I think it from there, it kind of created a relentless passion. What do you want to do? Where do you want your course to be charted? And I guess my advice would be today, very simple, is put the Northwood idea to work. I think that's what the next generation, our individual responsibility that we teach is so important. So take that and put that to work in whatever you do.
We've got a lightning round for you now. We're going to ask you to answer in just a minute or less. Okay. And first part of it is finish the sentence. The future of automotive is, and then what advice would you give to the graduating students here at Northwood University? So the first part of it is the future of automotive is, and then what advice to the students in a minute or less, starting with Nikki.
So I'm going to do the cliche answer. The future is electric. And I mean that twofold. One, obviously, the electrification of vehicles is not going away. But this room, this future coming out of this school will drive what the next 40 years of automotive industry looks like. And we come back to this campus for a reason. It felt like home the first time I pulled onto campus. It still feels like home. The future is electric because of the students here. My advice is find a mentor. Find somebody that you can talk through situations with, ask questions to, who's been through it, male, female, old, young, I don't care. Find somebody that you can talk to. I will always raise my hand. I will be in the lobby afterwards with my cards. I will warn you when you are a mentee of mine, I will follow you forever. I will be at your weddings. I will hold your babies, but I will always mentor and answer questions and try to help you through stuff. So find a mentor.
Well, I think the future of automotive is
Can't say electric.
Can't say electric, but a little cliche, more Northwood students. We need more Northwood students. We need more people that are willing to come out and work, to show up on time, willing to learn, be humble, to have a work ethic. In this industry right now, it's if you're willing to put the time in, the money's there to be made. You just got to be willing to give of yourself.
So, to me, the future of the automotive industry is what you choose to make it, right? It can be anything that you want it to be. It can be electric, it can be bright, it can be dark and gloomy, it can be whatever you want it to be. The point is you have to choose what you want what you want and go for it. And of course, that's what Northwood teaches all of us. 2 pieces of advice: know the golden rule and know the Judeo-Christian ethic. Those 2 things, keep them close and reference them as you need, because they will pull you through at any time that you call on them. So those 2 pieces.
I was going to use electric. I think it's fluid. I think that if the last 15 years have taught us anything, it's that the auto industry is ever changing, and what we've learned is that it's still all about people. And so what you choose to make of it, like he said, is where it's going to go. But we're seeing collaboration. Ford Motor Company just announced a new headquarters that is all about more collaboration. So it's ever changing, it's fluid, and it's moving forward with people, and chart your course. And I guess I would go back to what I had said. Take your Northwood idea, because that's the differentiating factor between you and your peers, and put it to work. Whatever it is that you want to do, have that grit and get after it every single day, and chart your true north in your ethics and everything that you do, and you'll be great.
Great honor to have the past Northwood University International Auto Show chairs with us here today. Everybody, let's give it up for our panel. Sarah Van Tyne are here, and I are here at the Auto Show. We'll be right back.
To win gold, you can't do it alone. You need a team to succeed. Learn about recruiting, development, and retention of service advisors in our Dynatron software panel up next.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. Our audience is looking forward to this panel always. It is Dynatron Software, our great colleague and friend, Maureen Martin. She's Vice President of Strategic Alliances at Dinatron Software. Maureen, welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thank you, Ted. Really appreciate it. We always love being here. And today we have an incredible group with us that are longtime partners of Dinatron Software. And we're going to be talking today about recruiting, development, and retention of service advisors, critical to our business. And I'd like to kick off by just introducing our panel. So with us today, we have Jaime Macias. And Jaime is the general manager for 2 of the Casa Automotive Group stores in Prescott, Arizona. And that would be Casa Chevrolet Cadillac and Casa Nissan. Welcome, Jaime.
Hello.
We also have with us Richard Lupo, and Richard is the Fixed Operations Director for Apple Tree Honda and Apple Tree Acura in North Carolina. And Richard is a definite friend and has been here on the Fixed Ops Roundtable. Welcome, Richard.
Thank you, Maureen. Glad to be here.
Glad to have you. And John Liciano, many call him Lucky in the business. John has been a longtime partner of Dynatron. He is the president and partner for both Street Volkswagen and Street Toyota out in West Texas, my home state. John, welcome.
Thank you.
And then we also have with us today, Matt Norris. Matt is the Parts and Service Director for Bozard Ford Lincoln in Florida. And Matt, as well as Ed Roberts, you all know very well here on the Fixed Ops Roundtable. Bozard is a fantastic partner of the Roundtable. Welcome, Matt.
Thanks, Maureen. Good to be here.
Great to have you. So we're just going to kind of kick off into this. The Dynatron panel that we're doing today could not be more relevant than today. You know, the importance of leaning into fixed operations. I have the privilege to attend many industry events, and each of them are talking about the challenges on the variable side, and we're looking at that net profit. And really, you have to lean into fixed operations. Now, these are uncertain times for sure for our teams and as well for our customers. And it's around that confidence that we build in them, understanding that we are the experts to come into. So we know that we've got to leverage business intelligence. We got to lead with confidence and with drive our performance in our dealerships and group. So our seasoned Dynatron panel today is going to really talk about some of those key ingredients. What does it take to really do recruiting, development, and retention? And when we look at our service advisors, they are our front line. We know they have a direct impact with our customers. So we're going to get kicked off today. I'm going to start with John. John, John's like,
Thanks.
I'm ready. You're ready to go.
Yeah, I drew the short straw.
I think you drew the top straw as the president and partner for your group. And when we really talk about talent acquisition, it really comes from beginning with culture, and that starts from the top. So it really seems that you are perfect to get us kicked off, John, in talking about what are some of those key ingredients for building that culture and what has been successful specifically for your team. And then I'm going to also have the other panelists give some thoughts as well on the topic. But John, I'd love you to kick us off, please.
Hi. Well, mine goes back a long way, and Jaime knows the name or whatever from back in the day, but I go all the way back to the original Mr. Lowenfield, back at the Casa Group, where I started my career back in 1979 and 1980. And he was known as the boss, but his name was Wallace Lowenfield. And he helped us understand very quickly that there's nothing really hard about the car business. And what it was all about then was looking for people that kind of had a servant's heart, that loved being and talking to people and working with people. And then we'll teach you the rest of it. But you can't teach that. You can't teach the honesty. You can't teach the fact that you want to serve and you want to treat somebody well and do the right thing. But we can teach you how to write an RO and how to, especially nowadays, when we have AI that'll do 90% of it for you. But we can't teach that humbleness, that humility, and how to talk to somebody when it's really, a lot of times, especially in service drive, they're in crisis mode. They had things planned. They had the day, I need to get this done. And now all of a sudden, boom, it's done. The car doesn't run. I can't get there. I'm trying to call people. I'm going to miss things. And so we have to teach that to sell experience. The rest of it will come and it will happen, and the car's going to have to get fixed, and you'll get the write-up and you'll sell the parts and you'll do whatever. But somewhere it's got to start along the way of, I understand, I'm with you, you're not alone, this happens, and this is what we have found is a great way to go through that. So that's for us. We start there, and through our whole story, it doesn't matter who we're hiring. We start there looking for that personality and somebody that wants to care and wants to do it. And then we figure out how to hone their skills and get really good at it. But if you love what you're doing and you believe in it, it's going to come pretty natural at that point.
Love it. And 38 years ago, when I interviewed with Ford Motor Company and they asked me how technical I was like, anything you need, you're going to teach me, right? So I love that philosophy, but the servant heart and servant leadership is really a core. And I would say that is across all of you that are here on this panel today. What would anybody else like to add to what John just shared with those nuggets of real excellence?
Well, I can add that, Maureen. It just says culture, and we're talking about culture here, has to start from the leadership. And obviously Lucky does a good job of that at his stores. There's legacy there coming from finding empathetic people and making sure that that's a priority in your organization. So it starts from leadership, from the top down. If leadership is invested in culture, then the people downstream from there will bring that culture that is brought to us by the leadership. So for us, it starts with leadership and sharing that vision and actually living it out when we do hire in for people, making sure that we're getting that servant leader, that servant heart, that empathetic person, and then teaching them the skills along the way. So for us, it starts with the leadership.
Thank you. Matt, Jaime?
Yeah, just for me to just kind of piggyback off of Lucky, what he said about Wally Lowenfield. His thing was always take my buildings, leave in my people, and I would build it back up. And he's always had that mindset of that.
Jaime, he had a great line, and somebody was there from Ford Credit, and we were all sitting in a meeting, and this was early on, and we were really doing well. And the guy mentioned something, and then he grabbed the financial statement and he pointed, and he was talking about assets. And Wally exactly looked at him and says, "Those aren't my assets." He's like, "Well, yeah, this is your statement. He says, no, the only assets I have are my employees. Everybody's got buildings. Everybody's got concrete. I mean, that was, 46 years ago for me when he probably said that. And it has always stuck in my head. And he did a really good job of helping us understand that there is the car business and there's the business of selling cars. And he always wanted to be in the business of selling cars because the car business has all that 2 and 2 equals 4,000. Wally always said, we can start with all that, but we're going to finish every deal to a T. No ambiguity, no nothing. Everybody that was involved in the deal knows exactly where they stand. And he was an incredible mentor and just miss him every day. The things that he taught us. And he was barely 5 foot tall, but he was a giant, in people's eyes. And he was one of the aspirations for me to want to be the National Dealer Council chairman once in my career, because I went through those years with him and he took that standard with Ford. And I mean, he raised it unbelievably in his 2 years of what should be said and how that partnership between the brand and its dealers has to be built, and just did a great job. And Clay followed right behind him, and Justin, I watched from a distance, but I watched all those grow up. Clay and I went to high school together, grade school. So, but what a great corporation. You're lucky to be a part of it. They're just good people.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Really, we all have somebody that really stands out in our mind, right? As a mentor for all of us. Matt, I just had the privilege of being with your entire team last month, and you certainly exemplify that culture from the leadership throughout. You can see it and feel it. Let's talk a little bit now about what are some of the initiatives that you have successfully done in recruiting specifically service advisors. They could be somebody new to the industry or another seasoned service advisor. And how does your onboarding play a role?
That's a great question, Maureen. I'd like to take some of John Lucky's and Jaime's, what they just added to it. So for us, a big piece of what we really look for is during the interview process, we really focus on the 3 C's: character, chemistry, and competency. And like the other 2 gentlemen said, I can't teach you character. I can't teach you the chemistry piece of it. We know if you got it in an interview. The competency piece, to your point, is we can teach you that stuff. We can teach you how to write an RO. We can teach you to go through the process, how to work with technicians, how to do all the fundamental and technical things. But those first 2 key components, those are the big ones that we really need to focus on, because they are so integral to service advisors being successful in the roles that they're in. And, fortunately for us, we don't typically hire a lot from outside for an advisor role. We have built such a strong pipeline within our own dealership of bringing in people from entry-level positions that have expressed interest in becoming advisors, whether it's from our communication center, whether it's from some of our folks on our valet team. I mean, one of our last big success stories here was a gentleman that came in as a valet. He moved in from valet onto concierge doing pickup delivery. Then he moved into Quick Lane as a Quick Lane advisor, and then he moved on to be a Quick Lane manager. Those types of success stories, I can walk you around the dealership, and Maureen, I know you've toured with Ed before, but we can walk you around the dealership and show you success story after success story with all of these individuals that have started out in relatively entry-level positions and then moved on into advisor roles, into management roles, et cetera. And it's really cool to be able to watch all of that progression happen with these individuals. I mean, as you watch them buy their first homes, have kids, and just continue to grow through the industry, it's tremendous to watch it. And, it really makes you get you right here sometimes, because you really have provided such we've provided such a great opportunities for these individuals to come in and be successful. But I think a lot of that has to do with somebody else had mentored the mentor. Lucky, I think that was you talking about how you had this gentleman as a mentor. And that is a big part of what we do here from a training standpoint too, is we've used some outside training companies, and some of them are really good, right? Like, I wouldn't knock any of these, because everybody's got different focuses in different arenas. But we know what we want, and we have senior advisors on our service drive that love to train and love to be a part of watching these individuals grow too. So as we bring in these entry level people from comm center or valet and they move into an advisor position, these service advisors that we have on our service lane that have been here 18, 22 years, they love wrapping their arms around those people and really showing them how it should be done, and really showing them those relationship skills that they want them to focus on in order to build those relationships with their consumers. And that's when when you make those connections with people, they'll come back time and time and time again. And it's not even like a transactional or a business. I mean, we have advisors that have been here that have customers that come in, and it's cool to watch the interaction. They come in and it's, hey, how's the family? How's the kids doing? And it's such a cool thing to watch and see. And another thing I will add to this, one of the other things that we really try and focus on here is giving the advisors realistic work schedules. I've worked at some other dealers. I started out as a tech and kind of rose through the industry. And one thing I as a service advisor working at other dealerships, one of my frustrations to a degree was we expect a lot out of advisors. We put a lot on their shoulders. They bear a lot of the responsibility, whether it's something didn't get fixed right in the shop, et cetera. And so these individuals are responsible for a lot. And then we ask them to work 7 in the morning till 7 at night, Monday through Friday. And oftentimes they're working every other Saturday or every 2 Saturdays. And I'll be honest, we have 3 shifts here. We have a 7 to 4, an 8 to 5, and then a 9 to 7. And we try and provide some leniency with those shifts. The advisors will come in and say, hey, I want to work this shift today, or I'm going to work this shift this week. And then they work 1 Saturday out of 6. So I think that's a big part of trying to keep people, in a positive mindset, creating a good culture for people to understand that we do care about their life outside of here, that we do want them to have family time. We do want them to be able to go out and enjoy the fruits of their labor and spend time with family, friends, or just, whatever they enjoy. But we've been really blessed and fortunate with this dealership and being able to really create that career path and that growth path from within.
Oh, I love it, Matt. So many nuggets there, right? When you think of those key ingredients, really building on the culture, how those things also help you from a recruiting standpoint, right? Because at some point they came into your store, whether it's BDC or valet or all those other great examples. Team, just a couple minutes. Anybody like to add on something specifically around recruiting or onboarding?
Well, Matt hit it on the nose of always looking within the store. So we're the same way. We hire so few from the outside, and we get accused of nepotism. I have so many husbands and wives and brothers and sisters and all that, and we just ignore all of that crazy that goes with it. But I think Matt's biggest nugget there is finding that time for them to have that family oriented time and be able to have it and get away from the store when you're trying to create that same thing. If the guy's burned out and he's dead and he just goes home and passes out or whatever, it's never going to be good. He's not happy there. He's not happy here. It's not going to go anywhere.
And I know, John,
we don't live to work, right? We work to live.
Amen.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well said.
And that community service, I know, is really key to all of you, right? Yes. Not only for them personally in their enrichment, but also for the dealership, right? It's a win-win-win. The customers see you, you're part of the community. I love it. Anything, Richard or Jaime, before we move on, you'd like to add?
Yeah, I think some of the success that we've seen is from service BDR agents. They're well-versed with scheduling tools, inspect reports, and upsells too as well. And they could build that trust and rapport with our guests. So we found some success with them as well.
Great, thank you.
And from the onboarding aspect, we really streamlined that. What used to take 3-4 days to get the background, the driver's license, drug test, all that stuff, it's all done in 24 hours now. And so we can take you from an interview, send you to a drug test, get all of that stuff done so that we've got you cleared to go in about 24 hours. Wow. So yeah, we've put some work into that because we were losing people that, especially when you're bringing in entry level people that need to work and need, I can put you to work, this is Monday afternoon. I can put you to work on Wednesday, I
think it sets a precedent too of who you are as a company. I think that impresses them real quick. They're like, wow, man, I got to go. I mean, this is real deal here. It's real life. That's excellent.
the waiting, right, is always the hardest part of most things, right? Even for our customers. I
Yeah.
love that. Fantastic. All right. Well, we've talked about culture, and we've talked about recruiting and onboarding. Jaime, I'm going to go to you next. Uniquely, you have been a corporate FOD. You have sat in many roles within the dealership and now are GM over 2 of the stores. You know, let's build on what we've been talking about. What are some of the key ingredients for building a service advisor career path? And what are successful strategies you've implemented at Casa Auto Group that really other dealerships or groups could benefit from?
Okay. Yeah. So one of the biggest things for me, I believe, is cultivating a clear path for growth. So what I mean by that is each service advisor understands that the career trajectory is yours to lose. So this mindset shifts the responsibility for success to the individual while empowering them with a supportive environment. So it gets a little complicated, but it does work. And it's just about empowering them to take ownership of their professional journey. And part of that starts with me. I believe it's going to be with transparency and communication is crucial for fostering an engaged team. One of the most impactful strategies that we shifted to is sharing all the reports with our service advisors, including end of month metrics. That's really helped a lot, and we get a lot of questions from that. This approach leads to, I think, a valuable conversation about key performance indicators and also personal growth goals. They know where we're heading, the vision that the group is going in. That's the biggest one. I believe also too is just valuing their time and questions is crucial for trust and rapport. My goal, I would say, is to engage in listening, to respond and reflect. I like to respond with, so what I'm hearing, or tell me more about that. These phrases confirm understanding and encourage deeper discussions with them, which makes people feel seen and respected for me. The other thing that we also like to do too as well is when a team member asks me, because I get this question a lot, what would you recommend that I do for growth? And my response is I always recommend them to take all the OEM classes that are available, which are service manager classes, warranty administrator, and any business courses that are available. I had the pleasure of doing this from everything from all the 4 classes, and this was crucial to my success. And I took advantage of it. At the time, it probably felt like a waste of time, but it wasn't. I mean, I remember staying up late at night till 2 o'clock, just knocking out those classes, but it was the best training that I've had and probably why I'm here today. I couldn't be here without them. And then also too, for team members that show significant progress and strong commitment to their growth, we like to open the doors up for training. A lot of it is from NCM training, and this training helps them hone their skills and advance their career with opportunities that arise.
Thank you, Jaime. I love it. I know when you and I were talking earlier, you know, you've really done an exceptional job with the kind of 5-minute with your Dynatron compliance report with the service advisors to really understand, you know, where are they benefiting a decision, how it impacts the dealership, the customer, and themselves. And you really help to do something specific. So I love that you're really doing things that are very targeted and really written in a career path. For the rest of the panel, let me hear some of the things that you're doing specifically that are really helping you with development and career pathing with your service advisors. Richard, how about you first?
Well, along what Jaime said, sharing information, sharing the metrics and giving them understanding so that they understand what they're looking at, why we look at what we look at, and what those things actually mean in the real world. Give them things context, give them that education, that depth of knowledge helps. And much like what Jaime said, as far as being empathetic and when they come to you and ask you what you should do, I always default and say invest in yourself. So whether that's a technician, you know, getting better at their job, doing the testing, if there's a weak area, they don't understand electrical, well, dig in and learn electrical. If it's a service consultant and they're struggling with CSI, you know, let's dig in and let's figure it out. Let's get down, drill down, and find out why those surveys are not returning the results that you expect. You know, those are the things. Investing in yourself will inevitably lead to putting yourself in that position of inevitability when it comes to promotions. There's an old inspirational video, Les Brown, if we're familiar with those. Les Brown, where he talks about how he didn't have a job, but he wanted to be a DJ, and he had a mentor that told him to practice being a DJ. So when the time actually came when he had the opportunity to become a DJ, he was ready, And so I always, it's an older video, inspirational video, find it on YouTube, but it's a great way of thinking about how to invest in yourself, to be prepared when that opportunity comes.
Thank you so much. John and Matt, anything you'd like to add here?
Well, I think Richard hit a lot of it in letting them understand that you have that open door policy, and that it's always okay to say, hey, I'm not sure what I'm doing. I've kind of fallen into it. Can somebody listen to me, or can I try an approach on somebody? And just having that open communication that life is always going to have these ups and downs, and it's just not to be that continual deal. And being in a position to be able to say it, whether you've had a tough time at home or something happened, and you're thinking, well, I just need to stomach it out and go through the day. Where we try and make it's okay to say, hey, look, you know what? I got to tell you the truth. I've had some things come up. My head's not in the game, and that's okay. Great. And we're going to find somebody to cover or get you some time, or let's have a conversation or whatever. Let's get our head back in the game. But making sure that there's no guilt to it or any being ashamed or anything. It's okay. We all have it. And when you have that, speak up, tell us, let's talk about it. We actually have in-house a gentleman that used to be a grief counselor, and we hired him 3 years ago between our two stores. And he's totally silent. He doesn't say anything to anybody. His name's Danny. He's got a separate phone. He doesn't report to myself at all. I don't ask about it, but they know they can contact him when they just, everybody needs somebody to talk to every once in a while. And so we just want to make that clear. My opinion, one of the reasons I was glad you asked me to be a part of this, I believe it's the toughest job in the store. I don't,
100%.
And right now, as a Volkswagen dealer, and with the issues we're going through and the vendor problems we're having, it is by far the toughest job in the store. There's just, 9 out of 10 phone calls start out just getting yelled at, right? And it's very hard to come back from that. And so we want to be able to have that conversation and be able to, maybe at 11 o'clock say, hey, you know what? Somebody needs to cover me for a minute. I've had 5 straight butt chewings or whatever we can say on here. I don't know. And I just don't know I just don't know that I can take another one for a few minutes. Let me clear my head and just get calmed down. It's just been a really tough time. And you have to start there. And then we have to be careful. We start yelling at them, hey, your upsells are off. And you got to look at it and say, yeah, but I've had 5 straight that we're damn near the buyback, or we're at this and we're having to get the brand involved. And the car has failed them 2 or 3 straight times. I don't feel comfortable trying to upsell them right now. They don't even like the car, much less want to throw any money at it. So let's do the right thing. Let's just listen, get it straightened out, get the car straight, take care of them, and then make a notation. Hey, we noticed the car probably was getting close on alignment or something, but felt like on this one, I just needed to take care of the customer. Let's get it back going and let's go forward. And I think all the brands are fighting this a little bit, but I work with those guys a lot, and it's just tough. And they know, if the conversation gets that bad, they just shoot it to me, because those certain customers that are just not going to stop until they talk to somebody up or the boss. And that's okay. We're all that way. And then how do we talk them off the cliff and we bring them back? But some of these, you almost need a psychology degree.
Yes. You know what? Really
tough job. Tough
so
job.
True coaching, right? You're doing true coaching for your service consultants, and you're also doing it for your employees, right? From the standpoint of how they can help their customers better. Love it. Matt,
timing's everything. When you ask for it, you just got to have you earned the spot? Richard really pointed that out well. Have we trained them well enough? Do they understand all of it in the time when it's time to ask for it, or when it's time to push it, or do you push it to the next time and be respectful of it? So training is a huge key. There's no question.
And how we present it, right? I think that is really incredibly. Matt, is there anything you'd like to add before we go on to retention?
One of the, Maureen, I think you were here, but I'm sure you're aware. We started Bozard University. It's probably been a couple of years ago now. And one of the things that I'm really proud of it, and I think the entire dealership is, and it's, by the way, this is all volunteer based. We don't tell anybody they have to go. It's strictly volunteer based, but it's a program that we put together several years ago. It's got a lot of different components to it. But one of the things that I think is great is that it offers people that are in roles where they have some interest in doing next step things, whether it's going into leadership, you know, hopefully looking at becoming a team lead, a shop foreman, a service manager, or you know, anything thereabouts, including on the variable side as well. But we started this program a couple of years ago, and we've had a whole lot of success with people wanting to be involved in these classes. And you know, we just had our most recent session start up here recently, and I think we've got like close to 40, 45 or 50 individuals that volunteered that wanted to be a part of this class, because you can see with a lot of these individuals, they want to go to the next step. They want to see what the next step looks like, and they want to continue growing themselves and really ultimately being better leaders, which we love. I mean, that's what we need. The whole industry needs it.
Thank you, Matt. Yes, definitely. You know, the university, and also too, I love that you visually also bring things to life. Like when you break a record, they literally team break a record, they put it on the wall, everybody signs it. I love it. So
we break a
it
lot
really,
of vinyl here.
you break a lot of vinyl there. I love it. You know, I love that retro. Okay, fantastic. I want to make sure we have time to bring it all back together, because at the end of the day, right, we've built the culture, we've recruited and brought them into our family, and then grown them within our family and had that career path. When we really look at retention of our service advisors and consultants, you know, we know that has a direct impact on our customer experience, on our customer retention, which is critical to all of us. John pointed out a lot of things that are happening in the industry right now, and all of you are the face to the customer. So Richard, I'm going to go to you to start off for us. You know, from your own group, and you've also worked with a lot of the groups that are on the, you know, Fixed Ops Roundtable. What are so few successful strategies that you have seen to really retain our service advisor consultants in our dealership that really would benefit others?
Well, obviously you start with the basics. You have to be competitive in pay, benefits, all those kinds of things like that. And so when your organization doesn't necessarily have to be the leader in pay or benefits, but you know, it's comparative. Then it comes down for me, it comes down to the competency of understanding my position. Because people don't quit companies, they quit bosses. And so the difference is building value. So we know our technicians, our advisors, our people, our salespeople are all connected in Facebook, chat groups, all those kinds of things like that. And building a culture that makes this job something that is of value and stand out amongst our competitors is my main tactic for retention. So when they're talking to other service advisors or other technicians, or you know, insert said group, you know, my service manager is not a great guy. You know, he's or gal, or you know, they're not empathetic. They don't, you know, they made me do this, they forced me to do that. And so what I strive for is, if our service advisors are connected in one of those groups, they say, you know, that's not how it is here at our store. You know, when I go open that door and sit down with the service manager or me, or you know, whoever, they listen, they respond, demonstrating leadership, so that the people that work with you, it's our job to support them. I tell them that all the time. I work for you. Tell me what it is I can do to support you. And they kind of, at first they kind of laugh about it a little bit, but they eventually come around to understand that, you know, like if that printer's not working, let me get you a new printer. If your keyboard is worn out, let me get you a keyboard. You know, if you've had 5 heaters in a row, come in, sit down, just, you know, have a seat. And
that's right.
Here's $20. Go get a hamburger, and, you know, I'll see you in an hour. Those kinds of things. So for us, it's building value in a position that has a lot of parallels, you know, within our community. Got a lot of dealers out there that we compete for talent. So retaining the talent for us becomes building a job that is valuable, stands out amongst our competitors.
And I would say, Ted, you know, really everything they have just talked about on this entire panel is really what drives retention. you got to have that culture. All of the key ingredients that all of you shared. Couldn't be more excited for this panel, and really, as we talked about at the beginning, so timely in our industry, right? We really want young people to see how valuable the automotive industry is. We build communities, and it's only through working in our industry with people like yourselves that we do it. So I can't thank you enough, all of you, for joining us today.
What a great panel. Special thanks to Maureen Martin of Dynatron Software for moderating. John, Matt, Richard, Jaime, thank you so much. Great information. I took a lot of notes. Exceptional panel. We'll have to come back and do it again. We didn't have enough time. Maureen, if our audience wants to reach out to you at Dynatron for more information on a lot of the great things that you're doing around the industry, which we're hearing all about here on the Fixed Ops Roundtable. It seems like on every segment now. Maureen, how do we find and get more information from you?
You're welcome to just reach out to me directly. My email is mmartin@dynatronsoftware.com, and I will absolutely get you in contact with one of our incredible team members, and we just welcome you. And honestly, we are very blessed by our dealers. Everyone on here, we'd be more than happy to talk to you about their personal experience. And honestly, that is, there could be nothing better than retention, and we are very blessed ourselves. So it's because of the relationships we have with our partners. So thank you so much.
Very honored to have you all. Thank you on behalf of the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, and if you need a Dynatron reference, you can reach out to me too. Thank you, Maureen. You've been a great partner.
Thank you.
Yeah, they're partners. They're not vendors. Remember that. I assure you that. I can tell you, the guys on this panel, none of us want any vendors. We look for partners, and I can assure you that Dynatron truly will show you that they are a partner and not a vendor.
Absolutely. Thank you, Maureen.
Makes my day. Thank you all.
The Dinatron panel here with us today on the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Every day, repair orders hold the key to profitability, but are they unlocking their full potential? Disconnected data, missed opportunities, a blind spot in performance optimization. Introducing Repair Order Insights, Dynatron's game-changing technology that transforms raw repair order data into actionable intelligence. No more guesswork, no more gaps, just data-driven decisions that put you miles ahead. From service managers to dealer principals, ROI arms every decision maker with the power to drive more profit, make faster decisions, and have total visibility.
It takes everything Dynatron's been giving us to make us smarter and does it faster and does it better. So, I think what excites me about ROI is that it's going to help us optimize more effectively our parts and labor pricing and give us viewership of what is fundamentally bringing down our effective labor rates in real time so that we can activate immediately.
Time is precious. And the last thing I want is my service manager sitting in their office, pulling reports, dissecting numbers, when all that can be done for them and on one platform. So I know every dollar, every penny, every tenth of an hour is very valuable on the fixed operation side. And certainly with what's going on in our world and country and pricing and inflations and stuff, it's more important that we capitalize on everything. And the only way that I know to do that is to have the Dynatron partners at our fingertips and have the data. That's the only way.
And now it's your turn. Are you ready to bring the future of repair order insights to dealerships everywhere? Let's go. Let's make an impact.
Our next speakers have got the car keys that unlock insights from every conversation with Siro.ai.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. Back to St. Augustine, Florida we go. Ed Roberts, the COO of Bozard Ford Lincoln, is with us. We've been examining a lot of technology in the last year. Gavin, Janis from Siro.ai is with us as well to talk about in-person conversational intelligence and how that applies to the fixed ops world. Gavin and Ed, welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thank you, Ted. Glad to be here.
Yeah, thanks, Ted. Happy to be here.
Ed, you and I have come upon some really interesting developments in helping advisors and teammates with coaching tools. And what Gavin does is squarely in the middle of all that.
Well, what Gavin does, we look at technology as something to help us be more efficient. And then when you have a piece of technology that helps us be more efficient, it helps us be more compliant, it helps with training elements. It just continues to raise the level of what we can do with our team and our people.
Gavin, if you would, take us back to the beginning. Tell us a little bit about Siro.ai and bring our audience up to speed for those who may not have heard yet. Yet it's becoming embedded throughout our lives and everything we do.
Yeah. So, I joined Siro as employee 7, been here since basically the ground floor. And Siro's been around for 5 years. And what it is, it's a mobile application that captures in-person, face-to-face selling conversations. And then we analyze those. And really what that looks like, it can be a variety of things. We'll summarize the conversation. We work with dealers, we would load in the recommended process for a service advisor and then score against that. We can tell you if service advisors are remembering to tell the customer that they're going to be checking for recalls or when they presented their menu, whatever it may be. We'll score those conversations. And to Ed's point, make it really efficient to understand if you've got a lower performing service advisor, what's driving that. Is it that they struggle with objections? Is it that they struggle with closing, building rapport? We take all of those recordings, score them individually, and then, compile those to give you big picture insights. So you as a dealer, fixed ops director, service manager, you understand where you should be spending time training the team as well as each individual service advisor.
And Ed, for a lot of dealers and GMs who maybe have come up through the sales ranks to have this scoring mechanism and to know what to look for and what to ask for, I think that's a real strong executive summary, if you will, of what's happening in my fixed operations.
Well, we always refer back and go back and say, okay, if we listen to phone calls, we know that there's some opportunity there. And there's opportunity there because that's something for you to play back and say, okay, here's where we missed it. Here's what we should have done. Well, it's not just on phone calls. It's with everything we do. It's all customer facing transactions. And when you can take that data and pull it together, create a report, you can really create tailored training programs or tailored compliance programs to elevate our game with our teams. And we could offer them advice. Well, hey, if we'd have done this, if we'd have built more value here, this is a compliance element, whatever it may be, it gives us the tools to be able to go back and do that rather than wait until an attorney knocks on our door and says, hey, you said this, but and I think every dealer out there fears that at some point. So from a compliance standpoint, when we can find something that helps us be more compliant, then we take more of the risk out of running these stores.
And Gavin, for a dealership like Ed's, I mean, he's I want to say a single point with Ford and Lincoln, but he's a big single point store, and he's got a lot of people and a lot of advisors and a lot of moving parts to keep tabs on, Gavin.
Yeah, I mean, Ed, I'd love to know how many in-person conversations you guys have in a year. It's probably millions. And it's hard to understand what is said in all of those. And to the compliance point, right? We've worked with dealers and they've got key phrases that they want to know if they're ever discussed. They get sent a weekly email report with all the recordings attached where this was said. So yeah, I mean, especially honing in on specifically the compliance related side of things, we can plug in all the key phrases you want to track, and across all those million conversations, the small percentage where those may happen, we can quickly identify those, nip those things in the bud before they become a bigger problem. And that's really the idea behind why we don't just record, we also analyze, because we do know if you just have millions of recordings, it's hard to go through all of those. So we pull out all the key insights to make it much more efficient.
And Gavin, Siro, you're using this or helping dealers use this as a coaching tool. Tell us a little bit about that, because that's really smart.
Yeah, I mean, so I'd actually love to ask Ed, because I think this will actually help me better even explain it. And I guess like in your world, like what would you say is one or two key soft skills or something that makes just a great service advisor compared to the ones that might be lacking with those lower performers? Like what is that 1 to 2, 3 key things that you think are making those people better compared to the rest?
It's the ability to build and create rapport instantaneously. Some people can do it over time, but to be able to do it instantaneously, that builds trust. And those are things, it's a good thing you brought that up, because those are things that you can highlight here. Well, this person took something from their vehicle, not necessarily took something from their vehicle, but seen something in their vehicle or on their vehicle and was able to make a connection. And those are the things. Don't just go right into what this is. You got to make the connection. People still want to do business with people. And so the number one thing that you see with advisors is they want to go straight for whatever the thing is, rather than building the rapport and making a connection that makes the rest of it easier.
Okay, that is fantastic you said that, because I was just working with a service advisor maybe a month back, and we looked at one of his recordings, and his building rapport is one of the things that we score. He scored a 40%. And we looked at it. The customer had come in, their car was super dusty. It was probably obvious they just came back from some trip. The service advisor, checks them in. How you doing? Blah, blah, blah. Hey, why is your car so dirty? Customer starts rambling on about this vacation that they just did up in, I think it was like a mountain trip or something like that. Customer tells the story, and the service advisor goes, okay, great. So here's what and just didn't ask. And basically the recommendation at Siro was, we would recommend have the customer, was the family with you? How long were you there? Build a little bit more rapport. And that service advisor was just like blown away. He's like, oh my God, I totally realized if I had done that, that customer probably would have liked me more. And then when I was asking for money 5 to 10 minutes later, it probably would have gone a lot better because they would have liked me, would have built the trust. So that's exactly that. And that's why, that's something that we score, because we do know if you build rapport, you get people to like you. Deals just seem to happen a little bit easier.
Absolutely.
Gavin, what about things on the subject of building rapport, of like using the customer's name? Did the advisor use the customer's name at some point in the conversation? Is Siro able to track things like that?
Totally. That's actually one of the many things that goes into the building rapport score is, do you repeatedly use the customer's name? Did you actually use a professional greeting like, hey, I'm blank with blank. How are you? Nice to meet you. Or did you just go right into it? There's so many things that we track, but to that point, using the customer's name, we know is very impactful to building that relationship. And that is one of the many things that we would score in that building rapport.
Ed, I'm thinking also for an advisor, Gavin mentioned the greeting process, early on, documenting and confirming the primary concern, the reason why the customer is here, and not going off into other things until we cover that first. I would imagine that would also be something we'd want to document and make sure advisors are doing.
And repeat it back to them. It's no different than their name. People want to hear their name. They love to hear their name. And so you repeat it back to them. And as a lot of the audience knows, I'm a stickler about a name tag here, because if we're going to use a customer's name, they need to be able to use ours as well. And they don't need to keep asking. There's too many things going on for them to remember your name when you're first making that connection. So you got to take those friction points out and then leverage them. Use their name, repeat back their issues. As you said, Gavin, dive a little deeper, because that guy became a little bit robotic. He's like, he created it, seen something, created a conversation, and then didn't go anywhere with it because he was going right back into work. And the work element goes so much faster when you slow it down in the beginning.
Yeah. I mean, and one thing we do is we give dealers the ability, it's called Ask Siro cross-recording insights. So you can ask questions across all recordings. And the service manager, we were honing in on Miguel. He was lower performing. We pulled in, hey, what is Miguel's strength? What is his weakness? His strength, he actually was crushing the greeting side of things. He was doing everything we just discussed. But then when they got into like what the customer was there for, he did zero deep diving into like using any form of discovery questions. Customer would come in, the engine's making a noise. And he would just basically blow right by that instead of, oh, tell me more. When does it do that? Does it happen when you reach a certain speed? Is it going uphill, downhill? All the different questions you can ask to, one, make sure that you understood the customer so they feel heard, while also helping them understand that this is a problem and that this is not going to go away unless you get this thing solved, whether it's today or in the coming, soon services.
Yep.
Gavin, what about in terms of real time? For Ed, he's got a lot of customer interactions happening throughout the day. When would we know how our people are doing? How does Siro help management hold people accountable and, again, utilize these coaching tools? And when do we get that back to the actual advisor who is, on the front lines?
Yeah. So it happens in two ways. Recordings right now, they upload within about 5 to 10 minutes. We're actually working to have this thing happen in live time while it's recording. But right now it's about 5 to 10 minutes after the conversation's done. One thing is service advisors, they actually like this. They can go back in and review their scores. They can ask the AI, how could I have better handled this objection? What could I have done better next time? Things like that. So they can get their own feedback from the AI, which is trained on the dealership's recommended best practices, basically instantaneously. Then in Ed's shoes, there's really two ways you can do it. You can either go into the dashboards at any point in the day. You'll see recordings coming in. Okay, that one got a 40 out of 100. What happened? Let's dive in. But then we also send a daily and weekly email digest highlighting all the things that you would want to know as a dealer. Here's the strength across the team. Here's the weakness across the team. Here's what each individual should be working on. And that comes in, it looks a little bit different in the daily versus weekly digest, but that's coming into your email. So at the end of the day, you got 5 minutes and you want to see what's wrong with the service advisor team if they're underperforming. Well, it'll tell you what happened in that day and you can quickly get in, leave those coaching comments. And then hopefully the next day they start to perform a little bit better.
Ed, I could see you coaching this or utilizing this in the morning huddle, okay, with the advisors before the proverbial door rolls open. I know you don't have a door, okay, it's Florida, okay, St. Augustine, Ed. But you got beautiful weather there. But, not only as a group, but individually, Ed, as well.
So there's a couple things there that I want the audience to make sure that they get is the scoring system of it. So you can pick out some good ones and you can pick out some ones that have opportunity. Obviously, the opportunity ones are the ones you want to have more of a one-on-one with, and it's your segue into creating that one-on-one. Then the good ones are the ones that you build off of and say, hey, we need more of these. But not only is it that element of a scoring system and a recap, but it's also a great review tool and a refreshment tool because you can go back and look and say, okay, well, I talked to this guy last week and may not remember what his dog's name is or whatever else. There's those elements that you could pick up on. Maybe you didn't make the note that you thought you did or whatever else, and you got the element to come back to. So it just AI is a big buzzword or buzz letters that we're all talking of. Yeah. But when it actually brings so many different elements of value, then it's instrumental to make it a key part of what we do.
Well, I really liked what you said there, Ed. It's, if you see a low score, that's when you use that in a one-on-one setting. But when you see someone just absolutely crushing it and you do introduce that to a team training, it reinforces everything that you guys preach in your trainings that it works. You show that thing live. It's not only are you talking about it in a team training, it's like, guys, look at Ed here. He ran through the process perfectly. Look how well this deal went. Customers happy. The deal was closed. Everyone's happy in the conversation. And that's when you use the good ones in a team setting. And then those one-on-ones is when you pull up those coaching moments. So you're not putting anybody on blast in front of the entire team. And we have seen actually some service advisors, hey, I want you to play this one in front of the team. I really struggled here and I want to hear what the team had for feedback. But the recommendation, poor recording, one-on-one training, great one, play it in front of the team, reinforce what we, preach works here.
Absolutely.
Gavin, how do you, from my perspective, how do you set this up? Because Bozard Ford Lincoln is very different than Tully's dealerships at the Nilo company, very different than Sean Kingry's Kaiser Automotive Group. How do you give the dealer, and make this work for them in their particular circumstance?
Totally. So we've worked with enough now where when we send our general best practices to a dealer for review, it's at the point where they're just making tweaks to the verbiage. A lot of there's similarities and then there's differences. So there's an intake form that we send to the managers typically within a dealership, and it takes them about 30 to 60 minutes to fill it out. After that, we load that into the system. Then we turn Siro on for 2 weeks. We start reviewing recordings, seeing the scores, seeing the feedback. And there's about 2 weeks of iteration after the fact. We realize, okay, we've cranked up the objection scoring a little too intense. The guys are actually doing pretty good, and it's grading a little too aggressively. And that typically happens over the first 2 weeks. So in short, it's a 30 to 60 intake form that the dealer has to fill out for each department they use it in. And then from there, we iterate over the first 2 weeks to make sure it's fine-tuned and tweaked to, fit what the dealer actually expects the scoring system to be doing.
Ed, you and I use this kind of technology in our personal lives as well.
Absolutely. And it's like having an assistant right there beside you, grading you on the things that you can improve on, the things that we didn't touch, all the elements. It's huge when it comes to efficiency and an element to go back for a refresher. I mean, there's just all the stuff we've talked about. Yes, I couldn't imagine living life without it now.
And that's the point, Gavin. Once a dealership starts using this, they can't imagine life without it because it's really helpful. It helps them get better, and it helps them hone their skills and be on top of their game.
Exactly. And that's really the thing, right? This is not a magic switch. You don't turn it on and it fixes everything in a month. But by about that 90-day threshold is when we start seeing that performance start to, move 2, 4, 5, 6, 8%. And then by that 6-month mark, there's a new standard that's in place, and a dealership's typically performing 8 to 10% better than they were before using Siro. So it doesn't happen overnight. This is almost like a gym membership in a way, is kind of how we describe it. You got to go to the gym to get strong. Same with Siro. You got to go into Siro to get better. It's one of those things you don't know what you don't know until you turn that flashlight on, and this turns that flashlight on.
Some of the best dealers in the country and best dealer groups use Siro.ai. Gavin, Janis with us here today with Ed Roberts at Bozard Ford Lincoln. This is all about in-person conversational intelligence and the technology that's helping dealerships throughout the country. Gavin, dealers are making their plans now for 2026. I would imagine this is one of the things that we're going to be hearing a lot about. How do dealers reach out to you if they have questions? How do they take the next step? Also, early in the year, are you going to be at NADA? Tell us more.
Yeah, we'll be at NADA. Got a big booth. We're going to be doing all kinds of fun stuff there, of course. And we'd love to see you at our booth there. Maybe we can, if you want to learn more about it ahead of NADA, I'd recommend you can simply just search our website, Siro.ai, hit book a demo. It's a 2-minute process, and you'll find time with me there. Or, Ted will, have my cell phone number and email attached to this as well. Feel free to text me, email me, whatever's easiest there. But simply put, go to our website, hit book a demo, take it 2 minutes. We'll find some time from there.
I see Gavin at Siro.ai and at 916. That's your cell phone?
You got it.
All right. There we go. Ed, I'll give you the last word.
Hey, there's opportunity for all of us to get better with everything we do. And when we think that we've nailed something, all you have to do is go pay attention to it. And then when you have tools to pay attention for you, review those tools and utilize them. And that's what this does for us. It gives us the opportunity to make so many things so much better, efficient, compliant, training tools. There's so many elements that comes from it, but you can't do it until you get started.
Gentlemen, thank you for all you do for the industry. And Gavin, appreciate what you're doing. I want to hear more. I'm sure we're going to learn more as the year progresses early in 2026. And on behalf of the Roundtable, happy Thanksgiving next week to both of you and your families as well.
Thank you, Ted.
Thank you, Ted.
Everybody, Gavin, Janis from Siro and Ed Roberts from Bozard Ford Lincoln here with us today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Hey guys, Martin here, head of sales at Siro.ai. We're the intelligence platform for in-person sales. In this video today, I'm going to talk through the number one thing our top customers are doing that our average customers are not. Just as a reminder, Siro.ai is a tool that records, transcribes, and analyzes in-person sales interactions. We capture a ton of data through this process, which powers coaching, peer-to-peer learning, and cross-sell rehash workflows. So when we onboard customers naturally tend towards their low performers, right? Once they have these recordings of what's happening in the field, they're very excited to understand, are people adhering to the process? And then once they're adhering to the process, are they executing the process effectively? This is very good, and this does drive great increases in total sales output. But one of the counterintuitive things we found is actually the highest leverage thing to do once you implement this technology is spend a disproportionate of time listening to your top performers, deconstructing what they're doing, and then actually disseminating those nuggets of gold to the rest of the team. Let me actually break down what this looked like for one of our top performing customers and how it led to better results. So there was a big restoration shop in the Southeast, and for them, they had one clear, in a way, top performer. What they did once they started recording was they did listen to a lot of his interactions. What it turns out is that he was doing a relatively nuanced same-day closing technique that was above and beyond the process that they taught. Turns out that actually no one else knew that this tactic existed within their organization. So once they were able to codify what he was doing and why it was working better than his peers, they took that, and in the next team meeting, they shared it to everyone. I know this sounds insane, but literally the next week, closing rates across the team went up 20% because they just never knew that this tactic existed. In summary, guys, absolutely still ensure that your low performers are starting to follow the process when you record. Ensure that you're diving into specific moments and coaching on the effectiveness of that process, but do not forget to spend time listening to your top performers and actually break down and deconstruct what's making them top performers. And if you can find one or two nuggets of gold, share those with the team and you're gonna get some quick wins right away.
So Chat Concierge is one of the tools that Capital One has provided for us, and the dealer takeover feature is in particular a great option for us to use. That is when a salesperson can see the chat coming in, see the tool interacting with the customer, and feels like it could use a little bit more information. And that's when they can jump in, take over the chat, and get the customer, specific information and answer specific questions. And we've seen numerous instances where they're able to make an appointment right then, and customer comes in and buys a car sometime same day.